2.5 hours of setup time.
Are you
I think we
kidding me?
should. I think we should be able to beat that next time. What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
100%.
Well, this is
Serious shit.
this is recording number 5.
Really?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But
So we're
who,
new
have you
at
been,
this
who
still.
have you been recording?
Just the two of us.
just the
Been
two of
cheating
us.
on me already?
Well, you are the first guest, so
I'm feeling very, very special right now.
this is our first 3 mic setup, so it adds another dynamic.
It's a whole different.
whole set of wires,
It's a whole different.
switches,
You know,
architecture.
different
It's a whole new
physics thing when you're
architecture.
dealing with
Yeah.
3 moving objects versus 2.
Yep.
This microphone is freaking me out. So close.
All right, let's kill this music, man. Deep House Haven. Oh, look at that. Look how easy that was.
When I was a kid, I had to
You don't
walk
like the
up.
music?
Actually,
I mean, I like
it.
the music.
It's really good, actually.
Have you ever Google searched songs called Roger? Because I did that.
I have not.
Oh, we got to play that.
Yeah, there's some really good Roger songs.
Can you play
There's
that
a lot
one
of
for me?
Roger commercials and Roger Ramjet like cartoons, but I haven't seen songs with Roger.
Roger Ramjet.
Yeah, my brother just sent me episode 1 the other day.
So I
from
prepared a little
1964.
intro here, Roger.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is Heath's intro for Roger.
Better be good.
First, I want to say getting to know and have you as a friend has been a privilege. Thank you, and I plan on being your friend for a very long time.
Thank you.
I'm going to work on my delivery
But you
here.
could add privilege and pain in there if you want. You want to tell the truth.
I knew I was going to get feedback from you, so I was not worried about that. Okay, so this is how I met Roger. It was towards the end of the pandemic at True Moon Yoga Studio that I started seeing you come to a lot of the different classes, right?
Yeah, Hit Lit, Yin, a couple of ones that they don't have anymore.
Then did you come to Allie's Ashtanga classes too?
I was at a lot of Ali's classes, yes.
Okay.
The
So
ones
that's-
that were called Vinyasa but were really Ashtanga.
She still does that.
And the one that were called Ashtanga that were really Ashtanga too.
They were just harder versions of.
They were just harder versions.
Yeah.
Since then, my shoulders have completely given out, and I can't even do a push-up right now.
She's been wonderful lately. Her classes have been really good, especially
I
the
miss
one that
her.
was in the extremely hot room.
Oh, yeah. Extremely
Oh, yeah.
hot.
It was 104 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, and it was it was a game changer. It's
was-
been a long time.
Oh, it was beautiful because he and I had just got out of the ice.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Yeah. And they have a small room there. Have you been to Yoga Factory?
No.
No, they have a small room there that's like, I think she said that it caps out at 13 people.
Yeah.
And it's this long room, like kind of like the shape of a big rectangle. And
Yeah.
like everybody just lines up. There's only one row of people.
Just one row of people.
And it's great.
I really should I can't do a push-up right now, so once I get my neck figured out, I'll go back.
So here's the rest of it. So we met at True Moon Yoga Studio. But the funny thing is that I didn't realize that I had to befriend him until I was on a date with Mary Beth, who brought up his name during the date. She thought he also went to the same yoga studio because that's how we started talking about you. But the reason his name came up was because of sailing. And she's into sailing too. So that's how you knew each other. I think that's how you knew each other.
That is how we knew each other.
But she
yeah.
talked about you quite a bit, and then I realized that, oh yeah, I probably should get to know Roger.
Well, here's to Mary Beth.
Yeah.
I don't know this person. Is that someone that was... Oh, it was somebody you were dating that
I found Mary Beth on Hinge,
Okay.
and we went on a couple of dates together, and I think each date she talked about Roger a little bit. Because we were talking about sailing. And
Sure, that's the reason.
Roger is synonymous with sailing.
Yeah. Would you agree with that statement? You are synonymous with sailing?
I've done a lot of sailing. If there's one thing I've done in my life more than anything else, it's sailing.
So Zach, what was your when did you first meet Roger?
I mean, probably in a yoga class, and I'm sure
It was definitely in a yoga class.
definitely in a yoga class, but I'm 100% sure I heard you. You have a very distinct
He heard my namaste
voice.
before he
Namaste.
married
Oh
me,
yeah, you were bringing the heat with the namaste, man. I'm like,
yeah.
who is this dude? Namaste.
Namaste. And then Emily decides that none of her teachers are doing namaste after class anymore, so they took all my fun away.
That's a thing.
Well, most traditional yoga, you do a namaste at the end of class,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no one's allowed to do that
She
anymore.
disallowed it?
No, she just doesn't do it. She just says, "Okay, class is over. Bye."
What?
We don't
so
even do savasana either,
yeah, she just walks out.
because they're not really yoga classes. They're Pilates anyway.
Your favorite, Heath.
Tell him.
No, her
He doesn't.
classes are not
the way
yoga.
the way that I complain, he doesn't like the timbre of it. Tell him what we decided together. We were talking about this, Roger. This is funny.
In reference to Pilates?
To the classes, and we go to a lot of these yoga classes, and we both decided, I think mainly me, that they're not really yoga classes. They're Pilates classes with a little bit of yoga in there. And the reason that we go to yoga is because we want to do the poses.
You want to do yoga?
We want to
Yeah.
do yoga. We don't want to do Pilates.
Some hard work. Pilates isn't necessarily hard work.
Hard work
It doesn't
is-
feel like it.
It's just annoying core. And it's done in the most annoying, it's like my core is stronger than most of these people who are doing Pilates because I do yoga.
Well, yeah. I mean, everybody is different, right? So, you get a bunch of housewives, and they're not in quite as good a shape as you are, Mr. Handstand, Jumping Jack, rock climber, hill climber,
So
hiker,
anyway,
bicycler.
I heard your voice before, and I mean, you really did bring it with the namaste.
I wasn't even
And then-
trying, but after class, I would get so mellow and relaxed, it would just come out that way.
And then it probably over the period of a couple months, it was like you were there every class I went to, and we just kind of started chatting.
Yeah, because you would sit in the far end by the window, and I would
Yeah.
always sit right in the middle, so I could watch the teacher, because I don't know any of the moves, and yeah, that's the reason, and yeah, so I mean, we really didn't start talking that much until you guys started coming over to my house. Really,
Yeah, which was great.
that's when we started.
I initially started to get Jacob and Zach, and I think then you. And
To the
then
coffee
Christopher
shop.
to go to Rise Up.
Yeah,
And then we
rise
started
up.
spending like another hour after class just talking.
Yeah,
shooting the breeze.
shooting the breeze. Man, has your voice always been like?
Surprisingly not. It didn't really get like this until like after college.
Really?
Yeah, or even like till I hit like 30.
Do people say to you all the time, like, "Oh, you should be on the radio"?
Yes.
Yeah, you've dealt with that.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
my voice actually sounds better through a microphone or a phone than it does in real life. I would love to like be a sports announcer, like announce games.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try it out, we have the microphone set up. We could.
Yeah, I mean, I used to get on sailboats, and we would be watching races, and I'd just start announcing the races.
That sounds good.
It was fun. Because I knew the color and I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a
It's
good
important.
thing to know if you're going to announce something, is to know what's happening.
Well, thank you for that.
You can tell we spend a lot of time giving each other shit.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
but
will.
I'm winning.
I will make it known that
And he's competitive.
he is.
Yeah, I give him more shit than he gives me. He just yells at me for everything that's wrong in the world. Like it's my fault.
As he gives me shit.
And I'm like, stop yelling at me. It's not my fault that the world's coming to an end.
I know very little about sailing. Like, I am like the polar opposite of you because you know anything and everything about sailing. I don't know a damn thing about it, except that it's powered by the wind.
That is true. So you're doing something.
Yeah.
Was it a family hobby? Was it like one of your first memories when you were growing up? I mean,
In fact, yes.
oh, okay. Tell us about
I
that.
started my mother and my father were sailors. My father was the 1949 and 50 Lightning champion out of Sheepshead Bay. And one day we're at
What do you mean lightning? Is that a
the
type of
Lightning's
boat?
it's a type of boat. It's like about 18 feet, made out of wood. It's pretty small. It's a dinghy, and he would sail it out of Sheepshead Bay in the ocean. You know, in New York Harbor. You know, the south of New York there, and he was part of the Lightning fleet. It was a big fleet at one time.
How many boats in a fleet?
I don't know how many were in that fleet, honestly. It was a little
Okay.
bit before my time. So, yeah, so the name of his boat was Leapin' Lena, because that was his mom's name. And,
Lena?
yeah. And so one day we're at the yacht club, and I'm like 6, 7 years old. Yep, those are the pictures.
That's the lightning, huh?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. You can see they're pretty small to be out in the ocean. So this guy walks up to him. My father's now sick with Parkinson's. He limps along, has no voice. And some guy walks up to him and goes, "Hey, Nutsy, how are you?" My father's nickname was Nutsy Kagan.
Nutsy
Because he
Kagan.
would go out in weather that nobody else would go out in.
Did you inherit this?
No, I did not.
No, you're not nutsy.
I'm not that nutsy, no. I'm not nutsy enough to get in the lightning and go out in the middle of the ocean, that's for sure. You know. But anyway, so my first memory of life is 4 years old, waking up in Block Island, New Harbor, in Block Island, walking upstairs and looking out and seeing Block Island. That's my first memory of life.
Seeing what?
Block Island is an island just off the tip of Montauk Point, and it's a great place to go cruising. It's like there's beaches and
I
stuff.
have an idea where Montauk is. Can you explain it to Zach?
Sure. So you got New York, and then you got Long Island sticking out, and then above you've got Connecticut shore. Rye and Stamford.
Gotcha.
So the island goes here, and then the island ends, and then there's a little island just past it, and it's called Block Island.
Nice.
And then there's ferries that go from Block Island to Newport, Block Island to New Haven.
And that's where you grew up, right there, huh?
Well, we grew up in Searingtown, which is much closer to the city. And we would take the boat and cruise it all the way out to the end of Long Island. Sometimes that cruise was a month long. I did a month-long cruise when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
God bless my parents.
I do know people from Long Island
Oh, you do?
get very offended if you say,
Where's Long Island? Yeah.
or if you say in Long Island. You got to say on Long Island.
I never thought about that, but it's true.
But it's a thing for people. It's not
I've never
you're
said-
not in Long Island. You are on Long Island.
It's true.
And they say Long Island.
I say
Long Island, yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Long Island.
it's true. I say Long Island, and I say coffee, and I drink orange juice.
Orange juice.
Orange. Juice. Not orange juice, but orange juice.
Orange. Okay.
And I drink coffee. Not coffee.
Coffee?
No coffee. That's for people in Boston.
Coffee. Coffee. I spent some time in Boston. I couldn't hang with the accent, man.
So I won my first trophy. I think I was 22, maybe 24. My first place trophy. My sister was my crew on my Hobie 16.
A Hobie
Cat.
16.
Yeah,
that was your
the first
sailboat.
boat I owned. Yeah.
And that was like a 2-person crew.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. You can look. It's the catamaran that you take off the beach. We had
Yeah.
a whole fleet of them in Manhasset Bay. Took me 3 years. First year I finished last in every race. broke every piece on the boat. The guys at the fleet would come over and teach me how to use it and how to fix everything and the right way to sail it. I'm thinking to myself, you guys should not be helping me. But thank you. Which is, that's the way fleets are supposed to be run. Instead of being bullied out of the fleet and wondering why there's nobody left. I'm not opinionated at all about this stuff.
Not at all.
Yeah, so the second year I was sort of like mid-fleet, and then the third year I was fleet champ, and then the fourth year I started winning these away regattas.
How many boats are usually in a race?
Well, the local race we usually had like 6.
Okay.
And then the local regattas, like you put the boat in a trailer and you go to beaches on Long Island and Connecticut, we would get 20 to 30, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Hector, and then I think the North American Championship would have like 60 or 70 boats.
Wow. At one time.
Yeah. I did one of those. I got, I think, 15th or 13th. I was really pissed that I couldn't get into the top 10. But it was my first one.
And that's the only one you've ever done?
On those boats, yeah.
Because you're not just a sailor. You're like an accomplished sailor. I mean, your stat sheet is got a lot of stuff on it, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, one thing you learn when you live in New York is that there's always somebody better than you. There's always somebody taller, somebody richer, better looking, smarter. But I've got my share of trophies, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some when I was in Manhattan Sailing Club, and I was, when I gave a speech, they would ask me to give speeches about the races, and you could hear a pin drop when I talked. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was really like, whoa, I had to pinch myself a few times.
So this is the Block Island
there it is.
Montauk area that you were talking about.
There it is, right there.
Took me a little while to get it to...
So it looks like a duck, especially if you turn it over.
Yeah.
Actually,
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Totally looks like a duck. And then you can see on the left, right where the B is, that's the big harbor, the new harbor.
Yep.
And you can see the entrance is really narrow. See that? Whoops. See that little entrance you got to go through? That actually, for a million years, was actually closed. And then at some point, a hurricane blew it open. And then...
The Viking Fleet entrance.
Yes. I never saw it called that. And then you see, if you go to the right, there, keep going. See where it says Ballards? And see the ferry? All the way at the top. In the middle.
Oh, yeah, Ballards.
So that's the old harbor, which is basically a couple of breakwaters.
Hey, it says Old Harbor.
Yeah, that's right. So before the new harbor, that was the only one. Block Island is a land time forgotten. Like the last time we did Block Island Race Week there, they had one computer printer on the whole island. And it didn't work. And for years, they had a 10 meg internet connection, like a dial-up for the entire island.
Wow.
I think only like 200 or 300 people live there in the winter time.
How are the scones at Aldo's Bakery?
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good?
So another story I have I can tell Block Island stories forever. So Aldo's Bakery has his own dinghy, like 25 foot with a big outboard, and they take all the scones and everything, and they bring them out to New Harbor, and there's this one guy who will start screaming, Aldo's, Aldo's, and everybody's like, yes, I want a Danish. And he delivers the Danish is hot right to your boat.
They have boat-to-boat service, Roger.
Yes, it's really not. Yeah, there it is. That's it.
Wow, look at that, man.
That's a big thing. It's true.
It is cool. Amazing that you can just pull this up right as we're having the conversation. And cool. There it is. There's Aldo's, man.
Yeah, I'm actually very impressed that you're doing that. It's really nice. Anyway, I could talk about boating forever.
Look at that. What's this Dell's Lemonade thing?
Dell's Lemonade is big in Rhode Island and Block Island. It's one of those really old-fashioned trucks, and it's this really, really sweet lemonade that they make. It's like Italian ices.
Italian ices.
It's
okay.
like ices, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So this isn't where you just like visited certain times. You actually lived there.
No, I never lived there.
You did? Okay.
We would go there and cruise there on our
Okay.
on our boat. We would stay on our boat.
Gotcha.
But now we go. Now sometimes, like the last few years when we had family reunions in Rhode Island, we take the ferry over, spend the day in Block Island, and come home.
That's awesome. I want to go there
it's
now.
like a big thing for our family. Like
I'm gonna go to Aldo's and I don't even eat bakery goods anymore.
I don't think that much. It doesn't have sugar in
What
it.
does that say? What kind of lobster tail?
Where?
Right in the middle one.
It's a something lobster tail. I can't even. I'm
That's
not even gonna
Italian.
try.
I don't think there's actually any real lobster.
It's the shape, I think. Is
Yeah, I
what it's
think
supposed to
Yeah, it looks like a lobster shell.
But you can get plenty of lobsters on Black Island.
Oh yeah, it's a big lobster town.
Well, yeah, I mean the lobster. They catch the lobsters.
be. Okay, I
right
gotta
out
ask,
there.
what the heck is cat and weed?
Cat and wed.
Wed.
I think it's
Okay.
Cat's wedding.
Oh, catering and
catering.
wedding.
Okay. Catering and wedding.
Catering and
Okay,
wedding.
that makes more sense.
So you could have a wedding on your boat, or some big boat that you've chartered, and they will bring out all the stuff for you.
So what's the nightlife like on Block Island?
Oh,
Is there a
it's
lot of good bars and stuff?
Actually, they have this one regatta every year called Block Island Race Week, and sometimes they get 200-300 boats. So there's a couple of bars. Actually, if you go back to the old harbor, actually halfway in between, go a little bit more, yeah, that way, a little down. Keep going, and then to the right. I mean, yeah, your left. Yep, keep going. There's like 3 or 4 bars right in the middle of town that everyone would go to, and they'd be packed during those times. Where's the old harbor? Okay, yeah. So it's over here. The Ore and Dead-Eye Dick's.
Dead-Eye Dicks.
And then there's a couple more in the middle of town here somewhere. Just having a little trouble. Anyway, there's 4 or 5 bars that we would just take over the whole bar, and they have bands and everything. But it's actually very quiet. Like I said, there's only 200 people. Most of the traffic there is they come for the day by ferry.
Right.
And there's a couple of hotels.
I thought you were gonna say tricycles.
Yeah, well, you can rent bicycles. You can bring your bike. You can rent the mopeds and go around the island.
Man, I want to get like an Airbnb and on Block Island.
I want
Yeah.
to take my jet surf and go to the harbor.
You should.
You'd
Yeah.
probably have a hell of a time doing that. That'd be
And
amazing.
of course you can, go out to the lighthouse. There's a lighthouse here, and the bluffs, Mohegan Bluffs Beach. You have to walk down like 100 flights of stairs to get to it. It's really gorgeous. It's cool. Like we always do that too.
Where?
The Mohegan, all the way to the right. It's on the.
Okay.
There's some really good pictures of it.
Here.
You can find some pictures of it if you want. It's very pretty.
No, there it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's not even a good picture.
Oh, I saw they have yoga. They have yoga on Block Island.
It's amazing.
Where?
On that list of stuff that you just had, it said things to do. There you go.
Yoga.
Health and wellness.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that guy, man.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Elevation Studio.
Yeah, just don't expect. I don't know. I mean, maybe the yoga's good during the summer, but we have.
It's like a nice place to. Well, an
people
Oakland
get
place.
married there. There's a lot of.
They got horses next to the yoga place.
Oh, they have this really nice zoo there.
That's a skinny ass horse.
You should look up the zoo that they have there. It's really. We went there once with the kids.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. They have some really interesting animals there. You can walk almost right up to them.
They got hiking and walking trails, biking.
Oh, yeah.
Let's check out the biking.
Oh yeah, you would like to bike that. It's a great place to bike.
Well, now you've got me wanting to go to Block Island.
This place really does look amazing.
It's
Yeah.
the land that time forgot. Literally, I'm telling you, they finally got like a fast internet access there, like in the last 2 years. So when the last time we went to Block Island Race Week, the guy who owned the boat, he called the dock, the marina, to reserve a slip. And this is how the conversation went. I'd like to reserve a slip for Block Island Race Week. And the guy's like, yeah, I think we can find a place for you. And he goes, do you want my name? And he goes, nah. Do you want a deposit? Nah. We'll get you when you come here. The whole marina didn't have one computer. The whole thing was run like with a cash register.
And that's great.
Yeah, the whole island's like that.
Plan your visit.
It's really cool to be like in a place like that.
Well, that's the thing about those kind of places. Like, I love going to places like that, but they're hard to find because unless you know about it, you don't know about it, Like,
Well, thanks,
It's
Roger.
true. Not a lot of people have ever heard of Block Island.
yeah.
It's really a very localized thing to Long Islanders.
Look, there's
and
another picture of people doing yoga.
There you go.
And when you think about it, I mean, there's places like that everywhere. It's just, but
Everywhere.
you gotta know somebody. You gotta be in the know. What is that thing in the middle of the yoga studio?
It's a Pilates bar.
Oh, dare they do Pilates in yoga studios?
They're gonna be like, who are these assholes?
Don't you know the difference between Pilates and yoga?
Yeah. When's the Ashtanga?
Don't you know the difference between vinyasa and
I
ashtanga?
knew that we get you going again. This is beautiful. There's Vikings entrance there.
Yep, that's the entrance. That's the harbor.
Oh yeah, there's the little
That's the view. from
Wow,
the-
look at those little tiny houses all around.
They're not that tiny.
So you were just tooling right through there, huh? On your boat?
Well, we would moor the boat, anchor the boat right in the middle there, where all the boats are.
What's a better thing to say than like on your boat? I know there's like better cool terminology.
What do you mean, like
The
on
better
your
thing to
boat?
say is on their boat, because the best boat is to be on at somebody else's.
Yeah, you say your skiff. Like
You knew what I was saying.
No, we call
you
it.
call it your boat.
Yeah, we call it boating,
Boating.
yachting.
Oh, look, they got surfing here.
Of course they do. There's just ocean waves and really good lobsters and swordfish right out of the ocean.
Man, that would be badass.
Fresh. There's nothing. You haven't had a piece of fish. That's
And
bad.
llamas and donkeys.
That's the zoo I was talking about. They have all these really weird animals.
Something wrong with that animal's.
They're very weird.
Legs.
I'm telling you, yeah. They have all different types of animals there. We went with the kids. It was really fun. Last time we were there. They're not kids anymore either.
Beautiful place, Roger.
Yeah.
So you spent a lot of your. How much time did you spend in this area?
Well, I mean, we went twice once when I was 4, once when I was 5. Then we started going again in my 20s, really.
So give me
But it's
give
not-
me a frame of reference about what year are we talking about?
Do I have to tell him?
Oh yeah, I want to know a specific year for sure.
Well, the first time I was there was in 1963.
Nice.
Things were a little different back then.
Yeah. JFK was still alive for most of that.
It was the first time I ever saw my father cry. I watched the funeral parade in black and white on our black and white TV downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
Did they have surfers back then?
I wouldn't know. I was 4.
But you remember when JFK
That's-
got shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
remember
know.
the parade and my father crying.
Yeah. My dad went to the funeral.
He went to the funeral?
Yeah, he had.
Oh, because you were around here.
Yeah, I had a film of him. And they also went and I believe they saw the train where, everybody knew his body was on the train and
Right.
went right by it.
Yeah, I never saw my father cry. That was a big deal.
I didn't like my moment like that growing up was when the Challenger exploded.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I watched that in my second grade class. Like They
year
wheeled the
was
TV in, and
What year was that?
So that was 85, I think, 84.
yeah, something like that.
Because I was actually in my first CAD class. I was in vocational school at the time. I think it was 85, and we were watching it during class
Yeah,
when it happened.
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole world, because there was the teacher on there, so
Yeah.
all the school kids in the world were watching it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah,
ever?
They didn't think too much about that one before they did that, did they? It's like,
Well, apparently they knew that shit was going to blow up.
Really?
Yeah, like they knew there was a high risk there. Like something was wrong with an O-ring or something, and they had some indicators that there was going to be a problem, and they were
said
like,
do it anyway.
it was like Evil Knievel. Like even when Evil Knievel knew he was going to crash, he would go because he's like, all these people paid to see me. Like I'm not going to let them down.
well,
Wow.
I
did
I'm-
not.
so there was like 5 different things that happened on that particular day, and one of them was a weather balloon that was completely out of place, but they labeled it kind of an anomaly, and the reason it was out of place was because of the wind shear. And the wind shear is when you go back and you look at the footage. The reason I know so much about this is because the guys talking at Goddard Space Flight Center, which is a NASA facility.
Right, right.
And they
Yeah.
talked about how many different things actually happened in order for that to actually take place. And so there were like 5 different things that they chose to ignore. One of them was they left it out on the pad, right? And they knew it was going to ice, and it iced. And then they knew that the O-rings couldn't take that because they had all those memos, and the guys actually committed suicide over it later on.
Being
But what they-
responsible.
But what they didn't realize is that there were 5 different things that happened. It wasn't that one little thing. And so what you'll see is the smoke going up from the exhaust from the solid rocket boosters. And then all of a sudden you'll see it shift to the left, which is
That's
the wind shear.
The wind was just
And that's,
pushing it.
and that's when
It jiggled the O-ring.
it basically pushed out beyond the O-ring and into the tank. Now, is there a way to prove any of this? No, but if you look at all of what I'm talking about, it looks fairly feasible that these things all stacked up. But I
don't know
believe
what I was doing during that time. It's like I must have been in La La Land because I wasn't really paying much attention to that. Like to me,
you
it
were
was
in
just-
college at the time, right?
I think it was just getting out of college.
Well, that would explain it.
Yeah, I was like in some kind of La La Land.
You
I
were
didn't know
distracted
what-
with life.
Yeah, I
you were
was
busy-
just like
Busy.
trying to figure out.
Well,
what I'm
speaking
gonna
of
do.
college, let's talk about college. So, what did you go to college for?
Oh, marketing. BBA marketing. Hofstra University.
What's BBA?
Bachelor of Business Administration.
Nice.
So, what mentors or influential figures led you to go into marketing from your life? Was it your father? Or your...
Well, my parents told me I was going to Hofstra University and I was taking marketing, so that's what I did.
So, okay, well,
There wasn't
Alright.
really ever a choice. So, my father wanted me to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, like one of those people that owns like 8 different businesses, and, which is kind of what we all want to be now.
yeah,
But
there's a lot more tools available now.
well, I mean, my father, that's what he saw for me, but he got sick, and my brother wound up raising me, and my brother was like, "Oh, you should just go work for, Procter and Gamble."
What year was this? How old were you?
Well, this is during my college years. Actually, before that, my brother raised me like from the time I was like 10. My father got Parkinson's disease, and he was quite disabled.
How much older is your brother?
4 years, and him and I have completely different sets of genes. But it's just very interesting how life works out when you start looking back on it. How you got to where you are now.
Oh yeah.
right?
I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
It's a bit eclectic.
It is a bit
Very
eclectic.
eclectic.
Well, I mean, and in certain things, if you had done something different on one day, I mean, it could have completely altered the course of history for you, you know? Like,
Oh, without a doubt.
yeah.
There's many. It's interesting because when you do long distance sailboat racing, like we did this race that starts in Staten Island, goes all the way down the bottom of Long Island, around the tip of Long Island, then down Long Island Sound, and finishes almost back in New York. It's like 2 days, 2.5 days. But there's key decision points during the race, right? It's like when you get 2 o'clock in the morning and you're off the South Shore of Long Island, you have to be here.
Right.
And then when you get around Long Island, you have to decide, are you going to go to the north or are you going to go to the south? Like, those are the key decisions. And the same thing is true in life. But unless you have like a father figure or somebody smart enough to say, you know, Roger, pay attention to this point in your life, because the decision you make right now is going to affect the next 40 years. Like, that's what a parent's supposed to do for you. But
Yeah.
there aren't a lot of parents who do that for their kids.
Well, there's not a lot of kids that actually
Well, listen either, but
you know, like,
God has a plan for everyone, including this octopus.
yeah. You gotta, I mean,
It's just interesting, though, you know.
you gotta let, sometimes people try to tell me something, but I had to make that mistake on my own, and that's the only way I learned. And, you know,
I was the same way. I learned everything by sticking my way to the top. Well, not quite the top. Just sticking my way to right where I am right now.
There's a lot to be said for making your own decisions, because, you know, sometimes your parent, as well-meaning as they are basing their decisions on what you should do based on outdated information.
oh, 100%.
You know?
Right, but the point is that the parent should be saying, this decision that you're going to make is going to affect you, so pay attention to it, not necessarily
Make it for you. Yeah. I totally agree with that one.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, you're deciding not to go to college. This is a crossroad.
Right.
You make sure that this is the direction you really want to go.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. It's like, you know, we would have this rule after a few years of making a lot of mistakes in the races that the guy that's in charge of making decisions would be woken up at this exact juncture and this exact juncture and this, because there were races where we let the guy sleep and when nobody made a decision, we just kept doing whatever. We didn't win those races.
Right.
What, like the one dude who's in charge?
Yeah, the guy that makes the decisions.
That's the captain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So the races
navigator.
are over how many days?
Some of them are two day, 48 hours. Some are 3 days. We didn't do too many more than were 3 days. Sometimes 3.5 days. You know, in that range. 2 days.
So what areas did you race in?
Well, mostly Long Island Sound.
Okay.
There's a distance race that starts in Stamford, goes all the way up to the Buzzards Bay Light Tower, which is past Newport, and back again. That's 265 miles. And these boats weren't that fast.
And
I did that race 18 times. Every freaking Labor Day weekend for 18 years in a row.
you were doing it back in the day. I mean, I'm sure there is, in terms of navigation, there is technology now that makes it a lot easier for people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Is that, yeah, I mean, like driving a car. I mean, young people now don't have to print directions out of MapQuest or have somebody write down directions for you, but
You know how
Remember
you keep
those days?
You know how you keep a secret from this next generation?
how's that?
You hand them a map and you give them directions in cursive.
Oh, yeah. My kid's 16. He cannot read cursive.
They can't read a map either,
No.
because the map doesn't move to go, you are here.
I'm gonna
They
be
don't have
honest.
to.
Yeah, I don't know if I can read a map.
I was reading the charts when I was bored on the boat. I was reading them when I was 5 years old. That's all I did was take all my dad's charts out, put them out.
He's probably the best map reader, but I was in Boy Scouts and got an orientation merit badge and
Ooh, a merit badge, yes.
stuff like that.
Well, when technology fails us, I will be hitting you guys up.
Yeah.
No problem. We got your back.
You do know where the North Star is, right?
In the sky.
Well,
See that I'm not very good at that either, right?
well, you know how
So
they
you could help us with that.
you know how they navigated across the ocean long before there was.
Well, there's a big ass star.
You know what a sextant is, right?
Nope.
Roger, explain.
Pull up a sextant.
I will pull up a
You
sextant.
gotta see it. You can't explain a sextant.
I will pull up a sextant.
Well, the North Star is
Right, so that's how they navigated. They used this little thing that would
That's just too funny.
So
That's too funny.
back in the day, we had to learn how to use a
The North
sextant.
Star's north.
I mean,
But
right?
which one is it?
It's the big bright one, right?
Yeah,
But
you have to look north to see it.
without thinking too much more about it, how do you locate it very easily?
I
the
don't
Big
know.
Dipper points.
Is it
right
next
up
to O-
it.
What part of the Big Dipper is it?
The tail.
The handle?
The top. It's not the handle. The handle goes down. It's the
tip of the scoop.
the tip of the scoop.
The tip of
So
the
you got the scoop, right? And then
Yeah.
you got the handle.
It's the other side of the handle.
Orion's right there too, right?
O'Brien?
Orion.
Isn't
O'Brien.
that like a place you get
Hey.
dinner in Annapolis?
Hey,
O'Brien's?
O'Brien, get your ass over here. Pull your pants up, O'Brien.
What movie are we referencing now?
It was just a random O'Brien.
Here, this is how you find the North Star.
2 easy methods.
Ooh, we're getting a lesson in celestial navigation now from
If it'll
Mr.
play,
Technical.
Celestial bodies.
it does not want to play.
Well, take a hint, buddy. God does not want you to play. Bore our audience with celestial navigation.
So this is it right here.
Yeah.
So
And it's really that bright in real life.
yeah, so that's what points at the North Star. It's not actually the star at the tip.
Oh, I see the ladle, and it goes
Right.
up, and it's just an arrow pointing to the North Star.
Right.
All
But
right.
there are some times you can't see the Big Dipper. So
Like when it's cloudy,
there's certain times of the year.
certain times of the year.
You can't see the Big Dipper
That's right.
at certain times.
Yeah,
Pull up
'cause
a sextant
sextant.
and
Sextant.
keep your mind out of the gutter too.
I went to a meteor shower one time,
You guys are killing me here.
and there was this, all these families were out and everything, and we were all laying back, and a big shooting star came, and I said, "That shooting star just hit Orion in the dick." And the lady next to me was like, "You have no couth. Get out of here. We're trying to enjoy this." And I was like, it was
How
funny.
old were you? Like 12,
No, I was like
20?
25,
You should have
26.
said, you know what's really funny is your reaction to my joke.
Yeah. She's like, "I have
Sexton.
children here." I thought it was funny. A sexton
sexton.
is
Sextant.
the officer of a church, congregation, or synagogue. Oh, the sexton is the guy who takes care of the church.
He's the guy that takes care of the little boys.
All right, here, you look it up.
See, he just refuses to type.
Colin Sexton.
I'm good at a lot of things, Roger.
Oh, a
is
sextant.
yeah.
I thought you guys were saying sexton.
That's what I thought too. That's why I was misspelling it.
Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
think
so
we're just too
I've
lazy
seen
to
this
type.
tool before, but I have no idea what that tool does.
Hey, do you know?
Nobody does.
Do you know how to use? Do you know how to use it, Roger?
No, absolutely not. I never learned.
Really?
Really?
Does that like go on the map?
No, you actually use it to look up in the sky and you get a bearing from the North Star and your direction, and you could tell what direction you're going by the bearing of this thing to the North Star.
Who in the hell came up with this? I mean, who invented that?
Well, I think the internet could probably tell you. Yeah, so
Wasn't it Columbus?
Columbus had a sextant, so the Vikings, I think, invented it.
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
Vikings. Because they were 600. They were here 600 years before Columbus was.
That's pretty sophisticated, though. I mean, maybe they got
Well, look,
alien technology.
I think it was aliens. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
I think they had a lot less Netflix to watch, so they were probably busy learning stuff.
Speaking of which, I spent like an entire day redoing my brother-in-law's Bose system on his TV because he wanted to watch Taylor Swift movie.
And this is a Sexton user,
There we go.
the typical one.
Notice he's got the captain's hat on.
Oh, it's got the captain's
He's got
hat
the
on.
hat on.
He's got the
And
seaman's
he's got the beard.
skin.
Like,
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
really. He's done up for that, man.
he's definitely in costume now.
Yeah, he's really looking the part.
He's definitely.
I noticed there's a lot of guys around Annapolis that look just like this.
Yeah, all you have to do is say, "Hey, waiter," and you get a guy like that. he'll be ready to run your boat for you.
All right. Well, sextant. None of us know how to use it, man.
You
But
don't need to
I
anymore.
don't
You
thi-
got GPS.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
As long as you can charge your battery on your phone, you're probably better
So
off.
look up radio direction finder.
Radio direction finder.
Yes.
RDF. RDF. Yeah.
So when we were navigating, when I was between 4 and 12, we had a radio direction finder on our boat. There was no LORAN or GPS. Here, I'll type it in for you.
There it is.
You have to get pictures of it.
Where is it?
Here, give me.
So, are there still people who?
This is my way to get him involved in the.
Yeah.
There's got to be people who are like traditionalists and still navigate like old school way. I would imagine.
Well, we belong to this. I belong to this club called the. I can't even remember. Here we go. See if we can find the original one that we used.
Go to the top and select images.
There we go.
There you go. Now you're more likely to find.
The one we had tubes in it. Vacuum
Oh, okay.
tubes.
Well, those big boxes probably have tubes in them.
Mm.
There you go. Right there on the left.
Oh, here it is. This is the one we have.
Yeah, that's the one that they showed in that recent World War II movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we had this on our boat.
This
Um,
that one there?
almost identical, yeah.
Dude, this is on an Angel Fire website. This website was probably made in like the late 90s. That's awesome. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
it's
an
made
Angel
by-
Fire website in forever.
This is made in the 40s.
I don't even know what an Angel Fire.
This is my brother navigated us in the deep fog from the middle of Long Island Sound into Mattatuck Harbor, which is this teeny little harbor right up against the beach. In the middle of the fog, we're sailing away, and he goes, and I'm driving the boat, and my parents weren't on the boat. It was just the kids. I was
Yeah.
like 12, and he's like, "Okay, head straight for the beach." I was like, "Okay," and we're just sailing straight into the beach, and up out of the fog was right where we were supposed to be. Because if we missed, we just had land right on the beach.
Have you ever had anything like extremely dangerous happen where you like felt like you were in danger or any close calls?
Yes, many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can name a couple. You want
Yeah.
to hear one?
Yeah, absolutely.
This one is actually not so. Well, there was one when we were the year after that one where not only did the motor die in our boat, but the motor died in our dinghy. We didn't even have a radio on the boat. Okay, so we didn't. But okay, so my first Annapolis to Newport race, 22 years old. I think it was my first long distance race. You have to sail all the way down from Annapolis to the end of the Chesapeake Bay and out into the ocean. So it's the middle of the night, and I'm down below, and Bob, who was our other watch captain. All of a sudden, it's like, what's that? What's that? What's that? And the owner comes running upstairs. Next thing you know, you hear this 5 long blasts, which is danger, get out of my way. Like, you could tell it was from a very large, those big tankers that are in the Chesapeake Bay?
Yeah.
So I hear, and all of a sudden the boat does like a 180-degree turn. And I look out the window, and all I saw was the side of the cargo ship out the window. Like, it was like 10 feet from us.
You got
And we
really
got
close
very
to
nearly
drying.
just cut in half.
You almost ran into it, or it almost ran
I
into
was
you.
down below. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I
Damn.
was off watch.
That's probably scary.
It was scary.
Like looking out and seeing just that being all you can see.
And then the year later, we were doing the Bermuda race from Newport, and they had to delay the race 3 days because a hurricane went through our course.
Wow.
So we got stuck in a huge thunderstorm in the middle of the ocean, and it was really windy, and all of a sudden the lightning hits so close to the boat. I was down below again. The entire interior of the boat lit up like a flash bulb. Like literally so bright you had to blink. And then you could hear the water sizzling right outside of the boat.
Holy shit.
And luckily nothing happened
From
to
the
the
static?
boat.
From the
I don't
static?
know what it was from the lightning. The electricity from the lightning.
That's cool.
But it didn't hit our boat because it did not fry any of the electronics.
Wow.
So lucky. We were lucky. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
This is true.
All right, I've talked enough. You guys can
That's what you're here for.
That is what you're here for.
So tell us more about your education.
Well, I went to Hofstra marketing.
Yeah, I want to know about your girlfriend while you were there, and
You do or don't?
yeah.
I was very shy in high school. My first date, Nancy Rosenblum, she asked me out. We went on 3 dates where I never said a word to her.
She didn't get
It's like Kuthar Polly.
she didn't get the Roger voice.
No, I never said a word to her. We had fun, but I was just incredibly shy. She broke up with me because I didn't ask her to the prom, expecting me to like say, no, don't break up. Instead I said okay. I mean, it was just like looking back at it, I'm like, I would like to do that over again.
Oh, yeah.
The right way. She was beautiful, and very sweet. Yeah. So in college, what was the question?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to know about your college experience.
Yeah. Well,
Were you sailing in college?
no. As a matter of fact, the only sailing I did we sold the boat right before I went to college. It was stuck.
What was the boat again?
The boat, my parents' boat, the one that I grew up cruising on. It was made out of wood. And then it went up on the rocks in a storm, broke off its mooring, and started falling apart. So my father was getting old and sick, so we sold it. We couldn't fix it anymore. Like the wires started cracking and the metal started breaking. But anyway, yeah, so I had a gym class to take.
In college?
I had to take this one gym class, like 3-credit gym class. So I took sailing, beginner sailing, in Oyster Bay.
And you aced it.
The teacher hated me because everybody else was listening to everything you said, and I'm sailing the boat just cursing at the school sails because they were so bad, like, these sails suck. I was like, they're school sails. He's like, you think you know everything. Yeah, I was a little wise guy,
Did you live at college?
No, I wanted to go away, but all of us went to Hofstra University.
So you're
And
living
my
at
mother
home?
walked in. This is right after my father died. And I was planning the whole time I was going to be the guy that went away to school. And my mother walks in. I'll never forget this long as I live. Roger, I need you to stay home. I can't. I just can't do it. I need you to stay home. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to go away to college so badly. So I lived at home and commuted to school and missed out on a lot of fun parties. But we did have fun on the soccer team, the intramural soccer team. That was a blast. And there were girls interested in me, but I was too shy to ask them out. But I did have a couple of girlfriends. One who picked me up.
Yeah. Just let them come to you, man. Just let them come to you.
Well, there weren't that many, but the ones that did, I didn't say no. Yeah, so I took marketing classes, and I was a member of Hofstra Concerts, and that was fun. I saw a lot of good concerts.
Like what?
Like Pat Metheny and Roy Buchanan, and like there's a whole bunch of them. Can't remember all of them now, but and the Allman Brothers, I did not see the Allman Brothers. They were a little bit. They were doing the college scene way before I went to college.
Yeah.
Did you see the Beatles?
Yeah, at Hofstra University in front of 200 people in 1983. 10 years after they broke up.
I didn't realize you were talking about just at the school.
Well, no, I was a member of Hofstra Concerts, so I helped with the roadie stuff a little bit.
Okay.
That was fun, and then I worked. I sold stereos, so I was very busy working.
Yeah, what kind of stereos did you sell? Like hi-fi, like
The best stereos of the world from at Battling Barry's House of Audio. You're like the lowest form of stereo store there was.
Yeah, what was your go-to stereo that you would recommend?
Oh, well, at Battling Barry's, I was very good at selling the car stereos back then. I
Okay.
was very into it. I was very into stereos. Like I would read Popular Science and all the stereo magazines. It was like a big hobby of mine. So, we had different brands: Panasonic, Marantz. I don't remember all the brands, but
What was the first computer you owned?
the first computer ever. So after I got done with my, college and stereo, I went to work at the stereo magazine, the Absolute Sound magazine.
Well, I figured that your stereo stuff went hand in hand with computers
Yeah,
because it sounded about the same time.
yeah. So the first computer I owned was actually I bought for the Absolute Sound magazine.
Okay.
They were fulfilling their magazines with cards, typed cards with the address on them, and they would type a label out for them. They'd have all the magazines shipped to the office, and they would fill out a label and put them in an envelope and ship the magazine out by hand.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And I was this guy who just graduated marketing a year ago. This is actually the highlight of my entire working career. So his entire gross income when I started there. So the first 2 years I started there, I was the guy that set up the stereos. I worked on the #1 stereo system in the entire world. And the name of the magazine was The Absolute Sound. And he would review the most expensive stereo equipment. And he was like the god. People would read him, and he was like God of the industry. The Absolute Sound magazine. And my first job there was to set up the stereos. And I have a golden ear, by the way. Like I can move your speakers an inch in either direction and get them to sound better, and like the angle of the needle going into the record, I can move it up and down a millimeter and hear the difference. So I did that for 2 years, and then all of a sudden the 3 ladies that ran this business office quit. And he goes, "Roger, you're marketing, go run my business for me."
Wow.
So his gross revenues when I took over were like, I don't know, somewhere around $200,000.
It says it went from 1947 to the year 2000.
Yeah, that's correct.
Check this out.
There it is. Yeah.
This is
TAS. Yeah. Harry Pearson started in 1983.
this is the Battling Barry's theme song.
Really? I don't remember that.
The prices are so low. So the worst audio store, Long Island's own Battling Barry's House of Audio.
House of Audio.
This was the absolute worst audio store you could possibly set foot in.
That's true.
Combine that with the seriously coked up sales sharks
I was not coked
with
up.
arm-twisting pressure cooker deals and strong closer managers on methamphetamines to jump into the deal and double team you like a Mexican porno movie and bait and switch tactics that would shame Sodom or Enron. You get the picture. Everyone worked there at one time, usually 1 week or another. Unbelievable. I can still hear the damn song from the commercials, and no, I won't sing it for you. What a zoo!
Oh my God, that is not that far from the truth.
That's awesome.
You gotta put this up on the screen. I gotta see this.
It's not that far from the truth. I learned how to
Oh,
sell.
put that up on the screen?
Yeah.
It was the low. I mean, we got paid on commission by how much profit we made on each sale.
Yeah.
So you could sell the same. You could send the same remote for $50 and 100 and to one guy, and $100 to the next guy.
Yeah, there it is. Long Island's own.
I should tell you about the graveyard of equipment they had, so he could rip off the insurance companies.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah, we had to do inventory one day on the graveyard.
I guess that's the guy who did the Battling Barry's theme song.
1974. Yeah, that was before my time. I worked there in probably 1979, 80. Yeah, 79, yeah.
Well, if you're gonna go to Comic-Con for Star Trek, don't wear a red shirt.
What does that mean? You're a Klingon?
Oh, I just realized that guy is wearing a red. Why?
No, red shirts are. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when they go down on the planet or they go here or there, the guy that gets killed is always wearing
the
a
guy
red
that
shirt.
gets killed is the guy with the red shirt from Star Trek?
Yes.
It's like a thing, huh?
I'm colorblind.
Oh yeah.
And we watch Star Trek in black and white.
Oh yeah. I'm
the first
betting
two
if I look
seasons.
it up, don't wear the red shirt. That's
love
all I'm
that.
gonna type in is
I totally love that.
don't.
It wasn't quite that bad, Battling Barry. I learned some really interesting things about psychology there. It was like the awakening of my life working there.
Yeah.
Like, I once watched this guy. He was the guy that he's talking about, the salesman. He was amazing. Steve Sussman. Fat pig. He was gross.
Yeah.
And just horrible person. And he was a genius psychologist. This guy walks in, he's driving this old Cadillac convertible. He wants to buy car speakers. And so he's driving a Cadillac. What do people who drive Cadillacs are what? Think about themselves. They're better than everybody else, right?
Oh, I thought there was Mercedes drivers, but Cadillacs
No, but at
too.
that time,
BMW,
in the
Yeah.
late 70s.
I can park here because I
Long
would.
Island,
Back in the day, Cadillacs were.
Cadillacs were like that.
Yeah.
So the guy walks in and he's pointing to this different cars. He needs new speakers for his Cadillac. It's a used Cadillac. And so, Steve's good. And I'm watching Steve Sussman do this. I was like a beginner there. And he's like, we got the Jensens, we got the Pioneers, we got the this. And the one speaker that he doesn't talk about with the fancy grill on it, that's our house brand, he doesn't say anything to. And the guy goes, obviously, he points at the one he doesn't say anything to. He goes, what's that one? And Steve Sussman snickers at the guy. He goes, you don't need those. They're too good for your car.
And then he had to
Guess
have
which
them.
one you? Yeah.
Yeah.
He walked out with them and paid full list price for them. That changed my entire life that day. I was told that psychology was a quackery.
Oh,
It didn't
really?
exist. And that I should take geology instead of psychology class, which I wanted to take.
Talk to the rocks.
Talk to the rocks.
Yeah.
They wanted you to take Moses' direction and talk to the rocks.
Well, my brother, this is advice from my brother who, his advice was based on As a parent, you always, you know this better than anyone.
Safety.
You always give the advice to your kid based on what the kid's good at. But when you're 16 or 18 years old and you're trying to raise another kid, you give the advice based on what you think is right for you.
Right.
So my brother gave me all the advice to do what he wanted to do, not what I was good at. Which, you can't blame him. But anyway, so what was I talking about?
Talking to rocks.
You're talking about psychology.
That moment changed my life. I'm like, holy shit, psychology is real.
Yeah.
It just completely changed my life.
When you're selling somebody something, right? I mean,
but just to watch him.
So
he just knew people that well.
Yes.
Yeah.
The idea that you could walk in and look at a person for 30 seconds and be able to use psychology to communicate with them, it totally blew my mind.
But I'm thinking
20 years old
Sussman wasn't classically trained. I mean, did he
No,
study? He just knew it.
He just knew it.
Yeah.
He was just born. He was the
Street
best.
street psychology.
I think there's a lot. There's positives to classically trained, but also that
It's human.
our entire American culture, we rely on this whole accredited bullshit way too much because it's been around for
Human
tens of
nature is
thousands,
human nature.
hundreds
Yeah.
of thousands of years before there was any accreditation to it.
Right.
And let's face it, there's some accredited people out there that you should not listen to.
Yeah.
Well, it's
You
the
know what I
same in
mean?
the computer business. The guys with the most certifications don't know anything except how to pass a test to get a certification.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The guy that you want is the guy who's...
He's got a couple of certs, but has actually done the work.
There's exceptions to every rule, but the guy who's basically trained themselves is going to be a lot more valuable.
Oh, 100%.
Because he not only knows how to do the thing, but he knows how to do the research to find out how to do the thing.
He's really good at
So when it
figuring
changes subtly, he's not like...
Lost.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Rob Williams, I hated his guts. When I was working now.
Not Robin Williams.
No, Rob Williams. I'm working in the computer business.
Like, you knew Robin Williams?
This kid's half my age, and I'm just starting out in the computer business. And, like, they would give him a new project with a new application or technology. He would figure it out in 3 days. I'm like, how did you figure that out so fast? I hated him. He was so good. He made me look bad so many times. I made it through somehow.
Robin Williams.
Robert
Williams.
I'm still friends with him now.
You are?
Yeah.
Did you tell him this story?
I don't have to tell him. He knows he was way better than me at the time.
Yeah, but it's always nice to hear
We should FaceTime
compliments
him.
from a friend. We should definitely send him a link to this podcast when we're done.
Yeah.
He lives in Florida now.
I got talked about.
Yeah.
I dated a girl one time, and it's like, what is your, when you're in a relationship with someone and you give the other person a celebrity pass. Like, if there's one celebrity you could get with, and hers was Robin Williams. And I was like, and she was probably like 23, 24. I was like, I think I would allow that. I was like, I might even sit in the corner and watch. But yeah, Robin Williams. That was her celebrity.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
She really gets turned on by funny, apparently.
Apparently.
Do you have a sense of humor?
Did I or do I?
Do you?
I mean, I like to think I do.
I think you're a pretty funny guy, actually, Zach.
Oh, thanks.
I think you're
funny looking,
especially when Allie miscounts in yoga, and you
says left instead of right.
Yeah,
right
and she always gives you shit when they're doing that one move where your foot's at a weird angle. And
yeah,
you give that face, and she goes, "Now you know you're doing it right when you got Zach's face.
Yeah, that's the face. That's the face you make.
Yeah.
I gotta come
She
back
always-
to class at you guys.
She says that all the time. That's the face you make when you're doing it right.
We do need you back in class, man.
So this
I
is
can't do a push-up right now. Not
this
more.
is the meme for the red shirt. This whole thing here.
Yep, that looks like Star Trek.
Maybe hazardous to your health.
Can you put, I mean, there has to be a montage, a compilation of,
I
Of
will-
all the
red
of all
shirts getting killed.
I will look that up.
There has to
we
be.
I will
have
look
to.
that up.
I'm a big
But
Star
look at
Trek
this shirt's
fan.
like $34.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have an eclectic gentleman red shirt montage.
Yeah. You know what would do wonders for your shoulder would be an ice plunge.
It's actually nerves. Neck. It's the nerves. in
He's
the
right
neck.
though. It would,
The ice
It's
plunge
the
might.
ice plunge would help with that inflammation.
So you guys help me out, like turn me upside down and dip me in the ice.
You're
head
allowed to
first?
go as deep as you want. You can go all the
Yeah.
way up to your nose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really
Yeah.
It's all
I
the-
I
my
get in
neck
up
is
I get in
so
up to here,
messed
don't I, Zach?
He does. He goes all the way. And
yeah, man.
I go all the way.
and
Here,
you know, we happen
Lucy
to have
wants you.
some blue dye that repairs mitochondria.
Really?
Yeah, methylene blue.
And if we put it in the pod water, he'll come out looking like a Smurf
You would be.
because it's blue dye.
You'd look very
But no, the
smurfy.
methylene blue, it does repair your mitochondria.
You put it in the ice?
No, we drink it.
We ingest it. And then
Really?
Yeah,
And-
we've been doing it for months now, and
What the hell's methylene? Isn't that like a food coloring?
yes, it is.
it's a dye. It's a blue dye.
It is a dye. It is a food coloring.
So you don't die. You fixes your mitochondria.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
it
that-
actually collects things like arsenic and stuff out of your system,
It pulls all
and
the heavy metals out.
it's like a chelator.
And
yeah.
zombie cells. Does
I
it
don't
get
know
rid
if
of
it's for
zombie
all
cells?
heavy metals, but it is a chelator.
Yeah. Cilantro gets rid of a lot of heavy metals too.
Does it?
Oh yeah.
Methylene blue works in conjunction with red light therapy because that is beneficial to the mitochondria as well. So, you know, you can start to go outside of the. What are you doing to
How do we
make
spell
the nerve better? Are you doing any
I
kind
don't
of
know. I
treatment?
haven't figured it out.
How do we spell montage, guys?
Montage. Montage.
GE.
Yep.
Boy, you really cannot spell. You don't have to
I think you got to
spell.
type Star Trek, right? Star Trek. I like when people call it Star Trek.
Star
You like
Trek.
Star Trek?
You like that Star Trek thing?
What kind of weird search engine are you in? It's just putting. Are you just doing image search?
I guess I am. I'm gonna fix that.
You can tell he's a CAD cam guy.
I'm just
he's
distracted
always
by your
clicking
your
on things.
your reeling
He
conversation.
doesn't actually have to type words. He just has to draw a
Oh, I
line.
ended up on eBay somehow. No wonder I'm lost.
That's. I was like, what
Maybe
kind of
this
web browser is
octopus-
this?
Maybe this octopus will help you navigate. Maybe we should get you a sextant. So
Here
you
we
can
go, here we
navigate
go.
the
Oh,
internet.
look at that. The
There it
supercut.
is on
The
the red
supercut.
There he is. There. Oh no, he's about to die. There he goes. Have you seen these episodes?
I don't know
Zach?
why we don't have volume, but
I have not seen this episode.
Have you seen any of the Star Trek?
I mean,
the originals.
I watched a little bit. I was much more of a '66 Batman guy.
Oh yeah, Batman.
Adam West, Cesar Romero.
oh
yeah.
yes, I saw every one of those too.
I used to write. I used to write to all those guys as a kid.
Really?
So I would correspond. I mean, Cesar Romero
Would they
and I.
write back?
Yeah. I went to California with my dad, and we went and visited Cesar Romero at his apartment.
How old were you?
I was like 8. He was filming Falcon Crest.
Wait, Cesar Romero was he wasn't the Riddler.
no, he wasn't.
He was the Joker.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
You're
He was
absolutely
the
right.
Joker.
And he was
He was fabulous as a Joker.
and he had his trademark was his mustache.
Right, right.
And he said, "I'll do it, but I refuse to shave my mustache." So they painted the white makeup, you can see his mustache underneath.
Yeah.
And he sat on the couch with me and told me all these stories. And I said, "Can you still laugh like the Joker?" And he said, "Let me think." And he busted it out like right in front of me. It was
On demand.
on demand. It was crazy. But until the end of his life, we sent Christmas cards back and forth.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And just wrote him a letter, you know?
Oh, there's another red shirt.
I don't know why I'm not getting audio.
It's all right. We don't need the audio.
Oh, you got to have the audio.
There's another one about to die. Oh, the M5. Oh, he was scary. He scared me.
That guy is scary, man.
These were some of
That was
the
the
best Star Trek ever had.
The first two seasons were awesome.
I was going to ask, how many seasons of Star Trek are
I
there?
thought,
Three.
I thought they
Three?
were excellent.
I mean, the best show ever was The Jetsons, evidently.
Yeah, evidently.
Because it's predicted the future, like, perfectly.
Yeah.
So this is the
Oh,
red
that's-
shirt montage.
This is great. Oh,
Man.
the M5 unit just nuked him. No man. Oh, that's the monster. Oh,
Man.
oh. Whoa.
You gotta love it, man. Look at all those guys you sending it to.
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
That was awesome.
The red shirt death super. I gotta send it to my sister and my brother.
The red shirt montage.
I'd learned something there. I never knew about
we
that.
We watched the original Star Trek when it first came on the air in black and white in the living room, the whole family together
Really? Yeah, the
on our one TV.
first season was black and white, huh?
First two were.
First two?
I think it was the first two.
What year
Well, our
was that?
TV was black and white. I don't know. I don't really know. You have to look that up.
Star Trek, the television series. Let's see when the first season was. The
70?
original series era is 1965 to
65.
1969.
Yeah, that's right. Was it in black and white though?
And then the original series got canceled. And then they brought it back in syndication.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it got like the real cult following came
After it was canceled.
after
yeah,
it was
that's
canceled. Yep.
right. A lot of shows are like that, and movies too.
And now they have a convention for everything. But I mean, this says, and I mean, I know that to be true, that like Star Trek was one of the first things that they started having conventions and this.
Yeah,
you know.
my sister used to go to them all. My older sister, the crazy one.
Yeah. Did she dress up?
She was like writing episodes and sending them in to Gene Roddenberry.
Holy shit.
She has a whole book full of Star Trek episodes that she wrote for them.
That's cool, man.
And now she claims that all her ideas were stolen for future episodes, but
Man, we should interview her.
you do not want to. Well, we'll talk about that off air.
Fair enough, Roger.
That's really cool, though. I like that. Now we got to pull up Cesar Romero in Batman.
Yeah, I don't. Somewhere, I'll send you the pictures when I find them.
It's been so long since I've seen the original Batman episode.
Yeah, they're good. They're good, man. Batman was a good one, and it was
Batman.
like 1985 is when I started watching it, and it was. I mean, it just blew my mind. But it wasn't that. Batman like blew up in 1989 when Michael Keaton and Tim Burton movie.
Right, the movies.
But before then, Batman was camp. He was campy. He was.
Nothing.
It was a comedy show. You know?
I mean, it was just a cheap cartoon,
Yeah.
No, Adam West
Bam,
was
pow, bam,
Yeah.
pow. The fighting.
blam.
Blam.
Yep. And it became.
It became way bigger, yeah.
Can you guys pull out the laugh from the penguin from
Yeah. Burgess Meredith. Burgess Meredith.
I want to see Cesar Romero.
Cesar Romero?
I thought Danny DeVito did an excellent job with the penguin.
Well, Danny DeVito does
In
an excellent
Michael
job
Keaton's-
with everything.
What's that?
He does an excellent job with everything.
Yeah. He did a really good job with the penguin, though.
So who won the football game?
The Ravens game?
Yeah.
Hey Siri, who won the Ravens game?
I can't even find my phone.
It's
The
right there.
Steelers
I
won the
left it.
Ravens game 17-10.
Good. Good for the Steelers. The Ravens weren't trying to win. They were just trying not to get hurt.
They're trying not to get injured.
I think there's another game on tonight.
Is there?
I want to say.
And a game that means anything?
I don't think so.
There he is.
There he is.
There's Caesar. So there's his mustache.
I remember the mustache thing. I always thought it was interesting. I never understood why they didn't just make it like green or something like that. But it looks fine.
Yeah.
He was
I
always
never
my
noticed
favorite.
it.
He was always my favorite Joker.
He's the best Joker.
Oh, he's the best.
I mean, Jack Nicholson was good.
Oh, he was a different Joker.
Yeah, that was a whole different.
And he did an amazing job too, but absolutely.
Yeah. See the stash?
Oh, yeah. So you couldn't see that on TV in 1965. There wasn't enough definition.
Well, as soon as he said it, I remembered it. But I think the upturn at the end of his smile there was kind of what
I
hides
want to
it.
hear him say something.
Yeah, he was really good. He was in.
He was in a lot of movies, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
he,
yeah.
He was a very accomplished actor
Right.
before any of
Like
this.
he was
yeah.
like he was probably like the most accomplished actor in that show, if you think.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I suspect
Burgess
he was-
Meredith was big. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he did a couple Twilight Zone episodes. Like, he was big into that. Roddy McDowell played Bookworm,
Oh, I didn't know
Burgess
that.
Meredith was who again?
the Penguin.
He was the Penguin, right?
Victor Bruno played King Tut. I mean, there was some.
My guess is that all those guys were doing it because it was a kid show.
What about the Catwoman?
Well, it turned into which one? Four.
The one on the show
There's multiple. There are.
Yeah, there's four different
There
ones.
was 4 different ones on the TV.
On the Adam West
So-
show, yeah.
Number one is Julie Newmar.
Julie Newmar.
Julie
I
Newmar.
don't remember what she looks like.
Kids will be watching this particular Batman and
There she
for the
is.
next 100 years.
That's like the 60s
Yeah.
version of
Julie
of-
Newmar
oh,
is gorgeous.
absolutely.
Um, But
She reminds me of
She's got that
Alien
60s
with
girl.
when Sigourney was in that. Remember, she's walking around the spaceship in her underwear.
Yep, yep.
yeah, I mean, she is extremely
She could
attractive.
be gorgeous in any decade.
Yeah, there she is.
Yeah.
But then there was a movie that came out, and Julie Newmar was not available for it. And Lee Merriweather played
Lee
Catwoman.
Merriweather.
And she was
She was in another TV show.
a Miss America, I believe. But there's Lee Merriweather as Catwoman. And
I
then,
like
do you
Julie.
know the other one?
No. But the one I'm used to seeing is The other one.
Well, the other one is
Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt. And I believe she was one of the first African American women.
She was on the TV show.
Yeah, she was the last Catwoman.
We'll pull up a picture of her in Catwoman costume.
Oh my God, she's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is if you're watching it in black and white, I never even knew that she was African American.
There she is with Caesar.
There they are. Wow. Now I'm gonna have to watch them.
Did you guys see the Catwoman with Halle Berry? See the whole movie?
Yeah, I've seen that movie.
You know who the big bad is in that, right?
No.
It's what's her name? Stone?
Sharon Stone?
Sharon Stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody get famous for crossing and uncrossing her legs as much as Sharon Stone did.
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
I had to.
I think it was the angle of the camera, wasn't it? Not the fact that she was crossing and uncrossing her legs.
My friend's mom drove, and we had to pretend like we were going to see one movie.
Oh, really?
And we went and saw Basic Instinct, and we were like, duck down, because they would have kicked us out.
This is what the problem is with theaters nowadays, is that kids can't get away with that, and I think they should be able to. If you're cunning enough to,
sound just went out.
Did it?
Oh, no, it's back.
If you're cunning enough as a kid to, I mean, it's a movie. It's not like you're gonna go in and see. You
have to be. I mean, kids can get away with plenty now. They're not missing out on anything. Can I plug this wire into my octopus?
You could plug it into your phone.
I don't have my phone.
Basic Instinct was 1992, so I was born in. I was 14 when that came out, and I mean,
staring at you.
You know.
Yeah.
You had to.
That was one. It was a very provocative movie, considering it really didn't show too much, did it?
No, it didn't.
It was just
so what was the most embarrassing movie you ever went to with your parents?
I don't think I ever went to a movie with my parents my whole life.
Ever? What was the most embarrassing thing that happened?
We went as kids because my father was sick and my mother was busy raising 4 kids. So they just sent the kids to go.
My notes here say pivotal moments in your life. Life-changing momentum.
Well, the day I decided I was going to divorce my wife.
Well, start earlier.
Pivotal moments in my life.
When did you decide you were going to marry this woman?
When she put a spell on me. She did. Don't be doing that. Very sensitive. Let me get back to you on the pivotal moments. Most of them were unpleasant and blocked out of my memory. So that's why don't really want to bring them up right now. Probably start crying.
What made you focus so much energy on sailing?
I was born in sailing. It was just what we did. We went sailing every weekend. Like, we didn't go to temple. We didn't do anything. Every weekend, my father was sick. It was the only thing he could do. We took him sailing every weekend. From the time I was 4 to the time he died.
Did he get visibly better when you guys got out on the water?
No, but he had fun. My parents loved sailing.
Yeah.
It was something he could do to get out of the house. He loved it. They loved it. So did we. We went on cruises with them when I was really young. That was fun. Took the little dinghy out and, scoped all the little hideouts in the water there. We had a lot of freedom. Our parents gave us a lot of freedom on boats, actually.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Like we were allowed to do stuff that kids weren't allowed to do.
Yeah.
By ourselves. Like if you think about it, kids from the '60s, like I would walk to my friend's house by myself and just knock on the door without calling them. You know, like we would just play in the streets all day. We'd be gone.
Yeah, what use is calling them when they're probably not standing next to the phone?
Yeah, I mean,
They might be in a
there weren't even
backyard all
answering
day, and if you
machines.
bothered to call, you'd never get a hold of them until the
Like there was
evening.
no thought of being kidnapped or getting in trouble or getting.
Not that it didn't happen, but you just didn't.
There was just no thought of it. It was a
You
safe
just didn't
neighborhood.
shut your life down because of
Yeah,
possibility.
it's
of,
like two of them that my neighbors' mothers half raised me. You know, it was like at Stephen Abrams' house.
what Stephen Abrams? That's the house that you spent most time at, other than your own.
Yeah, and he became.
I
Like,
was gonna
he
ask
was
that.
like one of the chief. He was one of the heads of DEA.
Why did you go over there?
Damn.
Why?
Yeah, why were you gravitating towards there?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I mean, when you're 6, 7 years old, do you really think about that, or you just go?
Did you?
We had fun going there. We
Was
were
it like
welcome
Beavis
there.
and Butthead, where they had this cupboard full of
Goody.
chocolate cookies and stuff like that? And
His mother was
I am
so
Cornholio.
nice. Yeah, he had a big backyard. We would all go and play, you know, running bases there and all kinds of things. And his parents were really nice to us. And, you know, it was like an extended family.
Cool.
They were really, really nice. Mrs. Abrams was just, to this day, I don't know what her first name is. She's always Mrs. Abrams.
I like that. I'm not a fan of the whole call adults by their first name kind of thing for kids. I think it's confusing.
Yeah.
Last names are more unique.
Well, Heath is
There
a
could be
pretty-
5 Mikes in a neighborhood, but there's only one Mr. Howe. You know what I mean?
There's only one Mr.
Yeah.
Barr.
Hmm?
Mr. Barr.
Or Mr. Kagan.
Mr.
I went
Heath
over. I
Barr.
was over at Mr. Kagan's house. There could be 4 Rogers in the neighborhood. There's only one Kagan.
There was
Yeah.
only one Roger, but there were 4 Rogers on radio commercials. Roger was the #1 guy. He was always either the dumb guy or the bad guy in all the radio commercials.
Roger.
He's like he sounds like the red shirt guy of.
Yeah, Roger is the red
Yeah.
shirt guy of radio commercials. It's true. Oh yeah.
Well, man, when we went to your house, you had what's that? That triangle symbol anywhere? You're into like some
the
kind of like
spiritual
spiritual
stuff,
healing
yes,
and stuff.
yeah.
When did you get into that whole stuff?
Well, you know, they say that when people who are driven into the spiritual world have very rough lives, and they get pushed in that direction. And I had chronic fatigue, I had depression, you know, all this stuff. And plus, I am a descendant of the spiritual masters of the Jewish religion. I'm a Kohen. So it's ingrained, it's part of me. Like, I was born in that way, in a way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Cohen, you can't have a minion without a Cohen, and I'm a Cohen.
But you had like
I'm
all
a
kinds of
descendant
like
of this-
certificates of training and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Are you like a healer?
Well, you're not supposed to call yourself a healer because you don't actually, we facilitate the healing. We don't, only God does the healing, you know. We just direct God's energy towards the healing.
You're a conduit.
Yes, a facilitator, but yeah, same thing.
How did you get into all that?
I was sick.
Yeah?
You know, there's certain things doctors can't cure, right? Chronic fatigue.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, there's a million of those things, you know.
There's a lot more than a million, yeah.
So I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. I was having all these problems, and I was trying out the vitamins, and, you know, of course that wasn't working because that wasn't the problem, and all this stuff. And one day, these ladies are in my computer class. I'm teaching computers. It's like Word 101, you know, like
Yeah.
Had to click on the cut and paste and stuff. And there were these 3 ladies there. They were they look like fun ladies. I had to chat them up. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're healers. And they giggled. Want a demonstration? I'm like, oh, this I got to see, you know?
Yeah.
And they were into this Japanese healing technique, which is, they're sort of like a more advanced version of Reiki.
Okay.
And I got really into it because they cleaned out my whole lymph system. And one time when I was just learning it, I healed somebody's broken toe in 20 minutes. Completely healed.
Really?
Yeah, that was like the coolest thing. So that's how I got into it. I was pushed into it. I was just guided. And I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world now. Fast forward to a week ago. Because what you learn is that your heart knows a lot more than your brain. And your heart knows the future because it's connected to God. Your brain just knows what it's observed. It thinks it knows everything, but it doesn't. So my friend picks me up. We're going to the car place. I'm going to drop him off to get his car. Or whatever it is. And he's telling me this story about he's got to get new medical insurance. He's got to pick between two. And if you've ever tried to get new medical insurance, there's no way you can figure out, if you have a list of 8 drugs your kid's taking, you know, there's no way you can figure out how much each one costs.
Yeah.
With each thing. He's like, it's going to take me 6 months to actually make an educated decision on which one's going to be best. So I said, what are the two names? And he tells me the names, and I'm like, okay, well, insurance 1 feels like this, and insurance 2 feels like this. Buy insurance 2. Decision made. He looked at me and smiled and said, I'm like, that's the way to make a decision. And that's how I do a lot of stuff. You just got to be careful because sometimes you can't be too fast. Like, you can't just touch it. Sometimes you got to let the feeling sink in for a while. So it's not 100% foolproof, let's put it that way. But I make a lot of my decisions that way now.
You just what? You just kind of like
I'm so sensitive now that because of all the
That's how we
studying.
picked out chocolate bars the first time he and I went shopping together.
so you're like you're opened up
Yeah,
and
I can sense things.
that's pretty cool.
Which I'm a cancer. Cancers are the sensitive one. They sense things. That's like my sign. So
I find that fascinating.
it is fascinating. It blows my mind. It's like goes against everything.
What's the vibe on Octopussy?
Octopus is a pretty happy guy. He really is. He's like, I've been 3D printed, man.
I'm hemmed in here.
I'm like the king of plastic.
You got a limbo out of there.
I know, right?
So anyway, the whole spiritual thing is my hobby now. Just being able to play with it. Like, I just like playing with it. It's like fun. It's like a toy.
How long have you been doing that?
Well, like I said, when I met those ladies is when I started.
Yeah, like how long ago
That
was
was
that?
like 28. I was about 28. Like 30 years now.
That's cool, man.
Now I have 3 different. I can do Seimei healing. I can do Rising Star. I can do. There's one other one. I can teach you how to do Rising Star. And the more you practice it, and the more you keep your energy clean, you have to keep cleansing yourself because there's all these ghosts and snakes and energies out there that are very nasty.
But it's a learned skill that anyone can do.
They say anyone can do it, but I think certain people have more proclivity to learning it than others. Like, I think God pushes most people that are in this have had horribly tough lives.
Thanks.
Like, there's some people
Thank
that are
you.
just blessed.
Well, a lot of people probably are not open to the whole thing. You know what I mean? I guess you have to believe.
Well, Guru Singh explained it to me once. This guy knows more about how the world works than any scientist you've ever met. It's sort of like the 80-20 rule. He said 80% of the people on this planet
distribution?
are sort of like, are sort of like muggles. And then there's 15% that are sort of like magicians. And then there's 5% that are like super magicians.
Okay.
Your Elon Musks and things like that. And he said it's actually the top 20%'s job to take care of the muggles until their souls evolve in the next several lifetimes, which I thought was fascinating. Like, that blew my mind, too.
So what do you believe in, like, when you die? What do you believe happens? Do you believe?
Yeah, so us in the spiritual world, us spiritual people, we believe, the teaching is that you're a soul with a body, not a body with a soul.
A soul with a body. Okay. So after the body's done, the soul lives on.
Yeah, it either goes up. We don't know where it goes. We're humans. We're not supposed to know.
So you subscribe to a very specific school of
Teachings, yeah.
teachings, yeah.
Well, these are the teachings of the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Like religion, organized religion was written, what? When was, like, the Bible written?
A long ass time ago.
Right. So at that
Yeah.
time, like, I can translate most things into that were written in the Bible in my own head to what they really meant, but they were dumbed down for people who that was the most they could understand that many years ago. But, like, you could say that, you're going to burn in hell forever, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but then there's another teaching that says you get reborn as an ant. You know what I'm saying? Or you get reborn. So, like...
So you wouldn't consider yourself like a Buddhist or Hindu?
No, I'm Jewish. I was born Jewish. I'm Jewish. But I've studied the other religions and I've studied spirituality.
But you can still be Jewish and then be...
I don't have to believe everything they teach me in Hebrew class. That's
I
for
got
sure.
you. I was raised Catholic. I get it, man. You know.
I mean, the Catholic religion, don't get me... I mean, it's been taken over. Like, people... Let's just put it this way. I don't think God or any of his disciples said, I want you to go out and start a war and kill everybody in my name. Like,
Yeah.
the idea of a holy war, instantly, you're not religious. You're just greedy crook. That's my opinion on the situation. That's not a teaching. But,
I agree with that
like,
opinion.
what the
man.
hell? God's coming down and telling you to start killing when there's only one God. Like, all rivers lead to one source. And we're all gods and everybody. So what the hell are we killing people over religion for? The whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. But
It's all about money.
it is. But then again, the latest thing that I was just taught very recently in my last seminar with my spiritual guide is about polarity. You scientist guys will get this. So you got your positive and your negative, right? Good and evil. You got a magnet.
It's about signal, yeah.
Plus and minus, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got cells, atoms. They vibrate because of electrical charge. You don't take your electrolytes, you have no energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's very true.
So, and as a matter of fact, the only thing holding together every physical thing in this planet is vibration of the atoms, right?
Bonds.
The
Electrical,
bond,
yeah.
electrical bonds. It's polarity. It's a magnet, plus and minus. So he gets up there, because I've been sitting there for 10 years going, why the hell did God put evil on this planet? I'm like, God put good and evil on the planet. It didn't just show up out of nowhere. And he gets up there and he goes, because you know what's going on. He goes, God put good and evil on the planet because it could not exist without it. I'm like, come on, you're full of shit. And then he explained that the good and the evil is the polarity that actually keeps the world together. It would not exist without it.
Yeah, it's all based on physics. It's,
Right.
It's
But
first
you can't
principle of
have-
physics that if you got a signal and light is a signal and all of I was just watching a TikTok on this brilliant young woman who puts stuff on Instagram and TikTok talks about this exact thing and how all of the different wave X-rays and micro and the radio waves, they're all basically the same as light waves. Light waves are just everything emits photons.
Right.
So when God or the divine says, "Let there be light," that was the creation of modern physics.
Yeah.
So it was our reality.
And you can't have light without dark.
You can't have a radio wave that only goes up.
Right.
It has to go back down again. It's like a roller coaster. If every hill went up all the time, you'd never come down the other side, and so then you don't go up, and then you don't. You have to have a positive and negative to get to the center.
Yeah.
Right. So it blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
It just
I totally
it
agree.
connected, like it got
Connected
you.
a
Yeah.
set of
Yeah.
dots that
Yeah,
I could
it's
never
vibrations. Yeah.
Yeah.
connect. I talk about vibrational until that was one of the first things I learned.
That's why I've been listening to more of this stuff on TikTok, is because of you.
Yeah.
I would like to
It's
learn.
like the most fun thing I've ever done in my life is explore this. It's like you understand.
Yeah,
I would like
think-
to learn more about that. I find
Yeah.
it extremely interesting.
It is. It's
When-
fascinating.
When I first met Roger and he started talking like this, I was like, oh, he's a crystal worshiper and stuff like that. And really what it is there's just not a lot of people to talk with this about. So having a conversation that is cohesive and coherent, it's not really that easy when you don't get to talk about it too much. You know what I mean?
No, and
Yeah.
learning about it. I mean, this is literally a culmination of 30 years
Right.
of. It's like going to college for 30 years.
Right. And the only people you get to talk with about it are other,
people who are doing
for lack of a better word, zealots like you in that area.
Well, no, but
They're
people
already
are
committed
more
to it, so
Yes.
you don't get to bounce it off of other people who are.
That's all right. We have our
Right,
every
right.
couple of months we have our own groups that we sit in on,
Right.
which are welcome to anyone. But people of the planet, especially the ones that we are around, like our souls in this generation are way more involved. Each generation, like your kids are between 100 and 1,000 times more involved than you are. That's just normal evolution. So the souls that we hang sort of our group of souls here are way more open to this than the last generation or like our parents' generation. Like, it's like I grew up and psychology was quackery. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
we have.
Yeah.
and whatever the doctor told you, you had to do.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I totally agree with you.
and that cigarette, people were smoking cigarettes in doctors' offices.
But here's the reason why is because when you just go back to even my grandfather, not my great grandfather, but my grandfather, the things that he had to do on a daily basis when he was my age and younger in order to just maintain life, like the generation just before him, right? My great grandfather.
And then
It was a
depression.
struggle, and they had more kids to maintain the family because they needed more help.
It's all part of the
And so
evolution of human.
we're
Yeah.
sitting here doing a podcast,
Oh.
right? Because we have all of this extra time that everybody else had to do just to survive, right? And we're
but-
choosing to do something with it that is productive,
Yes.
and other people choose not to do so productive things with all that extra leisure time.
And you just wait for another 10 years, and this next generation that we think are wasting all their time, they're going to be 100 times more advanced than us.
Well, and this whole thing about procrastination, I really changed my mind on because I just finished reading Walter Isaacson's book on Leonardo da Vinci. And Leonardo da Vinci
Was one of the
discovered like the way the blood flows through the heart and how the heart valves work 500 years before they documented it.
Yeah. So he was one of
but
those
the-
top 5%ers. He was probably in the top 1%ers.
But the point I'm really trying to get to is throughout the book, Walter Isaacson keeps coming back to, and he was probably one of the biggest procrastinators that has ever lived. But he believed in it as a philosophy. Like he'd go and he'd have these.
That's fascinating.
He worked on these works of art until the day he died, right? Like he still had the Mona Lisa in his possession when he died. He was still working on it.
Was he really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He was still. Yeah, you got to read
He was
this
just
book.
waiting for the downloads.
So well, that might be another way to put it. That might actually be a great way to put it. But he believed that he would go and he would visit his thing that his work, that his painting or whatever he was working on, and some days he would just stand in front of it for the whole freaking day, and then he wouldn't come back for 3 weeks.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
I stand in front of the Whole Foods hot food buffet for 6 or 7 hours at a time.
Yeah.
So he knows Calvin.
Yeah.
Do you know Calvin?
At least nobody's walking around like in New York sticking their hands in it and stuffing
dude.
food in the mouth.
I don't eat off of those food bars, man.
No,
I
nothing.
see the stuff people do. Like, I do not suggest it.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can really do. If I see it, I can take care of it, but I'm like, imagine all the stuff I don't see.
Yeah.
Like,
I like
oh,
the
let me
carrot.
taste this meatball. Like,
They take a bite and put it back.
people are nasty, man.
They put it back?
I've seen people reach their hand right in the food and be like, oh, excuse me, sir. I wanted to sample it, you know?
It's like use a fork. For
Yeah,
God's
people are
sake.
nasty. Wow. Yeah. So, like I said, imagine all the stuff I don't see, you know? Like,
Well, you don't get that many homeless people in Whole Foods, but you get a few, right?
we get more than you would think.
Yeah.
We get a good amount.
Yeah, I remember the one time I was
Yeah.
there and one guy was throwing a fit.
Yeah, that's a daily occurrence.
That's a daily thing.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have
They
anywhere else
like
to
the free
go.
coffee.
The what?
The free coffee.
Well, I would
and the
imagine that
samples.
some of these where you get that daily, I would imagine there's enough of them going there on a regular basis. Like the coffee shop we go to afterward, there's some homeless people that I see in there on a regular basis. And I don't know they're homeless because they bring their home with them
Yeah.
on a cart
Yep.
and leave it just outside the door. Come in and have coffee.
Well, I mean, their brain's not working very well.
There's a chess club that meets at Whole Foods on Tuesday nights.
Really?
Bunch of guys. They've been doing it for 12 years. And
Well,
they-
we had dinner there one night. We had smoked salmon.
Yeah?
Sat there and he wasn't too keen on it, but he helped me finish it. Roger does that. He's like, I'm not sure I want that. And then I open it up. He's like, I'll have some of that.
I've been doing that to my sister for 30 years. Do you, it just means we're brotherly.
Yeah. It's no big deal.
So, what was that Netflix show with the girl that played chess?
Oh, Queen of something.
Queen of Hearts?
No.
Queen of something.
Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was about chess.
Oh, yeah. She just
I've
is
seen
kicking.
I've seen that show like 15 times.
She's an orphan, and this
Oh, it is such
this
a
German guy who's the
Janitor.
who's the janitor there. He teaches her how to play chess,
Oh, nice.
and then she can't stop seeing chess at night when she's laying in bed, and she's playing all these games in her head.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then she just
Don't
starts,
tell them the end.
she just starts going and kicking everybody's ass. It's just
Don't
awesome.
tell me the end.
So
No,
but the
no,
point
there's
is,
a
but it's
lot
also
to watch.
like
Yeah.
it won awards for the costumes, for the scenery, for the acting. Like, it's just one of the best made shows.
Well, it's because it was a good period piece.
Like the emotions that it brings out.
Yeah.
When does it take place?
There's chocolate in the cupboard that you have to bring when you come back.
Okay.
Yeah, I could use a bio break.
There's okay.
Yeah, you want to...
You got to eat a few of these now, and then I got to put them away because nuts are not good for a podcast.
Yeah.
Although Joe Rogan doesn't seem to give a shit. People make noises in the mic.
He does not give a shit.
No, he does not. That's a great place to be in life.
Oh, man.
I love it when I'm in there.
How many listeners? How many downloads does he get per podcast? Like 1 billion?
Yeah, something crazy, man.
But he's not famous from his podcast. His podcast is famous from what he did previous to the podcast.
No, actually, I think it's the other way around. I think he's more famous from his podcast than he is anything else he's ever done.
The most listened to podcast in the U.S., estimated to bring in 11 million listeners per episode.
What did Joe Rogan do before he started the podcast?
What didn't he do?
He was a comedian.
He was a MMA fighter, wasn't he?
He fought?
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm asking.
Yeah, when he was 18, he was big into fighting.
I know he trained. I didn't know he actually fought.
And now he does a lot of the announcing for MMA.
Yeah, he does all that. I know he was the host of Fear Factor.
Yep.
How did he start out? Like, what was his first?
Fighting.
Really?
Yeah.
And then, like, how did he become famous?
Fighting.
Really?
Yeah, that's how he got his job in Fear Factor and stuff.
I don't even know who Joe Rogan is.
He was also on Radio City Music Hall. Or no,
Can I see a picture?
he was on that TV series Radio.
He is a professional actor and podcaster. He worked as a comedian, UFC color commentator.
He was on a TV series too, with the guy from the Kids from the Hall.
There he is. Ooh,
Yeah.
early life.
He began his career in comedy in 1988 in Boston.
Oh, the Boston comedy scene is great.
Like, he was around like LA and like Comedy Store and like in that like golden age of comedy.
Catch a Rising Star.
Well, and from what I understand, his comedy is blistering. I actually haven't seen any of his specials, and I need to.
Oh, he was in News Radio.
News Radio, that's the one.
UFC commentator.
If you can play a clip from something News Radio,
That's the movie.
I guarantee you. No, it's a TV series that was absolutely hilarious. Andy. Oh, I can't remember his name. There was a lot of other really funny people on News Radio. The guy from Office Space that said, I was told that if I listened to the radio at a reasonable volume. He's the guy who owns. He's a multimillionaire who owns News Radio, and the theory is that in Office Space he's still playing the same character, but he's chumming it up, and he actually owns the company that they keep putting him in the basement. He goes, "But that's the last straw," and so then he burns the place down, and he gets the insurance money for it.
I think Heath knows way too much about this.
Dave Foley is the guy from Kids in the Hall.
Yeah,
Andy Dick was on it.
Andy Dick was the
Phil Hartman, John Lovitz.
Phil Hartman. Remember Phil Hartman before he got killed by his ex-wife?
Damn, look at that picture of Phil Hartman, man.
He's hot.
He was
the one that
hilarious.
dated him.
Everybody in that show was hilarious.
Did you used to watch it?
Yeah.
1995 to
I squish your head.
1999.
I squish your
never
head.
watched it.
This is Kids in the Hall. I squish your head.
Okay, it's funny.
I
Hilarious.
squish your head.
I'm laughing. Haha.
He's brutal when we go out to dinner. Sometimes he just gives me no end of shit.
No, because
I don't think you're funny, Heath.
It's like he'll pull out something from like communist Russia and start quoting it and expect me to like know what he's talking about constantly.
From communist Russia?
Yeah, or anything. Like he'll just pull out something from Mars. Oh, you remember that show that was about Mars from 40 years ago? And I'm like, no, I don't.
And then I go, would
And
you
then I
back?
just keep going on about it like I had just seen it yesterday. It's annoying. But not as annoying as this guy will be to you. So I'm just getting him back. He doesn't realize how annoying he is.
Can you tell Roger has a lot of love for me?
I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here. So
Hey, Roger, I'm not here to entertain you.
Well, that's what you think.
Joe Rogan makes $100,000 an episode, man.
Well, we're going to be making that soon.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
So,
But I don't think that currently we're in it for the money anyway, so it doesn't matter.
speak for yourself. Daddy needs a new boat.
Yeah. I would like to get enough money to buy you a boat, man.
I'd like to get enough money to ride on somebody else's boat.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Endless invitations. Come ride on my boat. Okay.
I'd like to have enough money to have, like,
Take people, have somebody else drive your
have a
boat
bunch of
for you.
girls on the boat.
Yeah, now you're
No.
You know what they call those?
What?
Boat bunnies.
Boat bunnies.
sugar babies.
Yeah. Puck bunnies are the hockey ones. Yeah, puck
We
bunnies.
used to call them, what do we call them?
Do you guys...
Groupies. We used to call them groupies. And
Oh, did you coin that phrase, groupies? I've heard that before.
no, I did not coin that phrase.
Do you remember when the Playboy Club used to be in Wisconsin and also in the Drake Hotel in Chicago?
Yes, but I was very young and didn't really understand that I should be paying attention to that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I didn't realize this, and I don't have any documentation on it, but apparently my grandfather was invited on the show one time.
Really?
On what show?
The Playboy Club show
Yeah.
at the Drake Hotel. It was on TV.
Really?
Yeah.
Right after Laughing or before Laughing?
Oh, this is long before Laughing. Laughing.
Laughing was from the 60s.
This was in black and white, this show. The
So it was
Playboy.
like in the late 50s.
Yeah, I think so.
What was your grandfather invited on there for?
I don't remember, but I think Grandma was invited too.
Yeah.
Well, there's only so much there were.
My grandfather actually knew
Did he know
some of the main developers in Chicago.
Did he know Ralph Cramden?
That's from the Honeymooners.
Yeah.
Can I have that opened Lily's Bar?
Sure.
I have
The
my
Lily's
dad's Playboy Club card.
The Lily's Bar?
See, I do that to my sister, so you know.
And my dad dated
and according to him,
dated the pool bunny.
she's the
So
problem
She
child.
was like a Playboy bunny, but she was like a pool shark.
Really? Was
Yeah.
this your mom?
My dad dated her.
Oh, dated a Playboy bunny?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, I have on the wall in my house. I have my dad's Playboy Club card. It's like a metal card with his name on it and
That's
shit.
so cool. You must have had a cool dad.
we should start a new club
Did he
with
get a lot of
eclectic
girls?
gentleman cards.
Yeah. We could get a card,
You
man.
have to be able to ice plunge for 10 minutes to get a card.
That's your initiation.
No, that's only one of the things.
That's only one of the things.
We'll see if you're worthy or not. All right, so the Playboy Club TV show was on in the 50s, so it was next to like Ironsides and what was
I
the other
don't
big
see it.
show?
I
And
mean,
the
I see-
Honeymooners.
The Honeymooners, I think it was on at the same time as that. But he
There was
had...
only like 3 channels back then.
But he had... This was a time before they actually had, like, black entertainers on.
right.
And he would have black entertainers on his show.
Wow. What
On
TV
TV, which was unheard of.
Oh yeah. What TV show had the first interracial kiss?
Wasn't
On
it Star
TV.
Trek?
Yes, Uhura and Captain Kirk kissed. They were under a spell. Or maybe it was Spock she kissed. No, it was Kirk. That's really cool.
So the Drake Hotel, to this day, I believe to this day, has a antenna that sticks off of the building.
Right.
That's at an angle like this.
Right.
Guess what
Right.
that's for?
For broadcasting the TV signal.
No.
For bringing UFOs to land there.
For Zeppelins to come in and land on the building.
Led Zeppelin?
The Zeppelins would
to,
come
like,
up and they would get
tether to it.
a ring on it, and
Drop
then they
all the
would follow
girls
it
off.
down to the roof.
Nice.
Drop all the girls on.
This is really good chocolate bar.
I have a giant key at my house that hung in the Playboy Club in Baltimore.
Wow.
It's like,
I didn't know there was one in Baltimore.
Is your dad
Yeah.
still around?
no, my dad died 20 years ago.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Thanks. I mean, it's, you
How
know,
old were you?
25.
That sucks.
Yeah, so we have that.
That's a hard time, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Both
tough.
lost our dad.
Losing your dad at that early.
Yeah, I went off the rails for a little while. But
Quantify that.
I did a whole bunch of shit that I probably shouldn't have done. I made some decisions that can't really say I regret, because all of those decisions ended up leading me to where I am now. But I was definitely like, I thought the grief process was 6 months and like, hey, I'm back to normal. But like later on, I realized the grieving process
It's
is
forever.
still
It never
going
ends.
on,
It
right?
never ends. It'll never end.
So some of the decisions I made probably weren't the best, but that's how I dealt with it. And, you know,
Well, they say the past is over and cannot be changed.
yeah,
You can't change it.
you can't.
All you can do is be present.
Yeah.
And you can give me presents like my new octopus.
How old were you when you lost your dad?
18.
18, yeah.
But basically, he got sick when I was 4.
Right.
So he lost his voice when I was 5 years old.
So you didn't talk to him for...
Well, he had like a microphone and he could whisper. He had Parkinson's, and so it was very interesting because we had this big collection of popular science magazines, and one day I was going through all the back issues, and they had the surgery that my father had as an article in Popular Science as this great new breakthrough, and basically it was brain surgery with a map and a nitrogen probe. They would actually cut open the brain and take like a little probe with some nitrogen and use the map to find the spots to kill the nerves that were causing the Parkinson's disease. Let's just say that the success rate was not high.
It didn't work. Yeah.
Well, it worked for a little while, but then they missed a little bit. I mean, and on the second one, they said that they never told him supposedly that the success rate of the second surgery was like 8% or something.
Damn.
So he had the second surgery, and they missed a little bit, and it caused him to have a stroke that affected his vocal cords and whatever nerves there were that made you talk. So he lost his voice, and then he just got, the Parkinson's got worse, and then he got cancer, and he died. But basically, we took care of my father my whole childhood.
Yeah.
And my mom had 4 kids and a sick husband to take care of. It was not your... So we're in college, right? Me and my sister meet this girl in her sorority, Lori Eden. Beautiful, 5 foot something, a doll. Like,
Her last name was Eden?
yeah. But she was like Eden. She was like born into Eden. Like, so her family was like the perfect family. Smart, well off, loving, gave her what she needed, but wasn't too hard, didn't spoil her too much. Like, it was like the perfect family. And, like, nothing ever, she had no trauma in her whole life. Like, her grandpa died while she was in college, and that was like the first trauma she had ever had in her life. Like, me and my sister are like looking at her going, there was a little bit of jealousy, but we were just sort of like admiring, like,
What a life.
the perfect childhood was, it was just sort of nice to see someone that had the perfect childhood and the perfect parents. And I'm sure it wasn't really perfect, but it sure seemed like it to us at the time. She was a great girl. Like, it was fascinating.
I mean, yeah.
We were kind of jealous.
Yeah.
Envious. We were a little envious. Let's just say we noticed it.
It was noticeable. It must have been really noticeable if you're still
Yeah,
talking about it, right?
Yeah. she was a great kid. She was great. Everybody loved her, including me.
Well, it must have been tough when you were a kid, because instead of your dad coming home some days and go, "Let's go to the park," you were always like taking care of him.
Or being afraid to hurt him. It's even worse. Like being afraid that you would do something that would
Make things worse.
Yeah. Like that was really the controlling thought of my entire childhood, was being afraid.
I can relate. I felt the same way when the last couple of years my dad was alive.
Yeah.
It's like trying to... And then I realized I just needed to let it go.
Well, I mean, you live and you learn.
Well, sometimes my help wasn't wanted.
I don't really talk about this stuff much because it's over and put it behind me, but, you know, talk about it now. It's actually pretty healing. It feels good.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast, Roger, is
sage this room now. That's all
I think that men don't talk to each other enough and realize that, you know...
Yeah, we didn't all get born with a silver spoon in our hands. Even though, I mean,
Stoicism has a value, but also thinking in a group is what conversation is. And you can get a hell of a lot more intelligent a lot faster when you think with more people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure.
Right.
Like almost all my decisions growing up were just made in my own brain. Like there was nobody to talk to.
Yeah, some of the stupidest things I ever did were based on self-conversations.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah, that's true.
having someone smart to talk to.
Yeah.
Even if they aren't right in
Sure.
that whatever subject it is. So I'm glad you're
I
here.
mean, I should have like $10 million by now.
I'm glad you're our first guest.
Thank you. I'm honored.
I've made a lot of really good decisions on my own, though. I mean, as the same as I've made bad decisions all internally, I've made some good decisions internally.
Yeah, maybe we should take a look at our.
I think it's really great that you're... I'm not trying to be facetious even, that you're positive about that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, like
When I look
I'm
back,
sure
there's...
you've made some, like at least one good decision.
Oh no, I've made a lot of really good decisions that I didn't really think too much about.
Yeah.
Kind of like the feelings that you're talking about, like this is just right and I know it.
Yeah.
It's you
Like
can't
making
explain.
this guy for me.
Well, not to talk about myself too much, but like the decision to get involved in CAD. I told you I was in the vocational school when the space shuttle blew up. Well, as soon as I found out that there was a vocational class that I could take that was involved in CAD, I knew I had to take that class. And I wasn't even that good at geometry in high school. I remember my geometry teacher took me aside and said, I want to meet with you in the library and go over some of this stuff. And she tutored me on her own time to get better at geometry. And if I'm honest with myself, I wouldn't have been able to do the rest of my career without that foundation.
Sounds like God sent you an angel.
Well, there are other teachers that had opportunities to actually teach me that they didn't. You know?
She was one of your angels.
And she was a true teacher.
She was one of your angels, man. She was sent for you.
I've been meaning to go back through my yearbooks and look up her name.
Was it Catwoman? Julie Newmar?
No.
Julie Newmar.
Julie Newmar.
She was a good teacher, though. I had a couple of good teachers. I remember going to one history class where she taught the class in the story format.
Uh-huh.
Not by the book, not by the stupid textbook, but she told stories about ancient England and...
Oh, I love that when teachers
Yeah.
don't teach by the textbook.
You know, I mean, it had the content that she needed to test by in her stories, but she would get up there and
way better. Way better.
and she would tell stories. How's that camera working?
Good. I'm like panning back and forth right now. I'm right on you guys.
So tell us about your son.
I want to know if Roger has any kids.
I don't.
No.
None that you know of?
No, I don't. have any kids. If I knew of them, I would. If I had kids, I would like to know about them. I don't.
My son's a good kid. He is truly my best friend in the world. I think people say, like, you can't be friends with your kid. You need to be a parent. But I think that's fucking bullshit.
I agree. My sister's had more fun with her kids than anybody I've ever met. They turned out pretty well.
Yeah. I just think you got to kind of, like, help them out, guide them through life. And
Well, there are moments where you're dad, right?
yeah, 100%. I mean,
Well,
he
yeah,
knows
you gotta
I'm his
keep 'em from
dad. He
screwing up their
respects me.
life, right? Like if they're doing something that's going to really screw up their life, you're
Yeah.
going to butt in. and
He
say,
respects me as his dad, but, like, I don't know, in the last 6 months, we've really just kind of opened up the communication, and we just talk. I don't have to censor myself around him because I don't want to talk to my son about that kind of thing, you know? Like, I mean, we just watched Chris Rock stand up last night.
Hey, how old is he now?
He's 16.
Oh yeah.
But he's starting to talk to girls and have issues with girls, and you know, I try to be very candid. I don't really hold too much back with him. Just that's my job, you know. I don't want to bullshit the guy. I feel like a lot of parents bullshit their kids.
That's great.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it's great.
yeah, he's very much,
I mean,
you know,
at some point you got to let them make their own mistakes,
yeah.
but just either pick them up or congratulate them for making good choices, or just give them the confidence to be an adult. You know.
I consider him along the lines of like soulmate kind of, you know, I think we have a connection that is not of this world.
Wow.
There's a little more to it. We understand each other.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I got lucky, man. I mean, I got lucky because some people have a kid and the kid's they can't figure him out. It's very different to them. But
You just feel like you've known them forever.
yeah, we understood each other from day one.
That's fabulous.
The one thing that I think about is, you know, I wish he could have met my dad because I was kind of the same way with my dad. So
Maybe it's you.
yeah, maybe
Maybe you're the cohesive type.
yeah.
Was
maybe
your
it
dad
is.
still around when your kid was born?
No, they never met. But
What's the years of separation?
between me and my son,
No, between your son
your
and
dad dying and your son being
my
born.
dad died in 2003, and my son was born in 2007.
Right,
But
fine.
when my kid was like 2 and just learning to talk, we'd talk to him about my dad. But he would talk like he knew him and say, "Oh, I miss Robert," you know, and like he almost knew who he was. And he
You were
almost
probably
knew him.
talking about him a lot.
I was talking about him a lot, but
Wow.
it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like
This conversation
You think he
makes
was
my
visiting?
voice deeper.
100%. I 100% believe he was visiting.
Yeah, yeah. This conversation makes my voice
And he could
deeper.
see him.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I saw him after he died in the basement of the house. I saw him. I mean, no doubt about it. And like,
You got yourself an angel.
yeah,
Where was he sitting?
he was standing in the basement.
Wow, this is so cool.
He was standing in the basement, and I mean, I had a flat out panic attack.
How old were you?
I was 25. I went upstairs. I told my mom, and like, you know,
And your
it
mom
was-
told you you were nuts?
no, I think she felt it too.
Oh, really?
There was a lot of weird things around my father's death that it was just some bizarre stuff. And then that, I mean, I believed in energy and
Where was he standing?
in the basement, unfinished basement, storage area, boxes all around. It didn't look like he didn't look like a real person, like flesh and blood standing in front of me. It was kind of like he's kind of like translucent. I felt him.
Like the Frighteners that.
Ghost Whisperer.
No, you remember the movie The Frighteners with
There he goes again.
Who did the?
I haven't seen The Frighteners. I'm sorry.
The Frighteners. Is it old?
Yeah.
Ghost Whisperer with Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's one of my favorite shows.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah.
Yeah, she talks to all the ghosts. It's
I didn't know that.
Show. Fabulous show.
Yeah, but I felt him, and then I saw him, and then.
Have you seen him since?
No.
Maybe he said goodbye. Maybe he had to show up again before he crossed over.
Yeah.
What do you mean you felt him?
I mean, I knew he was there, and then I looked over, and he was there.
That's very cool.
I was probably like 2 weeks after he passed away.
That's very, very cool. That happens all the time on the Ghost Whisperer.
So we were at the cemetery, and it was October 15th, 2003, and the wind during this man's funeral was like nothing I've ever experienced in my life. Wow, you could see the trees.
Unbelievable.
Park Lawn Cemetery in Eldersburg. You could see the trees moving back and forth, and the wind was like significant. And it was just like this energy in the air.
Holy crap.
My family friend / housekeeper stayed back at the house because everybody was coming back to the house after the funeral. But there's a thing where like there was a bunch of stuff in the house that we were afraid that everybody would know we were at the funeral and might try to rob the house. So she said, I'm going to stay back and watch the house. We were pulling up to the cemetery, and she called my mom on her cell phone, on her Nextel, and said, the power just went out at the house. I don't know what we're going to do because we got all these people coming back to the house for the after party. I don't know what we're going to do. It's the only house in the neighborhood with the power out.
Holy fucking shit.
We did the whole...
You cannot make this stuff up.
We did the service or whatever you call it. They did like a 21 gun salute. The wind is acting crazy. We got back in the car, and my mom said, call Ann to see what we're going to do. We're going to have to call an audible and go somewhere else because we don't have any power in the house. I was on the phone with her, and the power came back on. And she said the door to my father's museum room was open. I'm just like...
You got to watch a couple episodes of The Ghost Whisperer.
Yeah.
This is like exactly what happens in the episodes of Ghost Whisperer.
But there's a few questions that I have for my father. And I'm like, my cousin in New Jersey went to a medium and that can make contact with people. And I really, really, really want to go and try to make contact. So there's a couple things I need to know. And I don't even need to ask him. Like, I feel like he'll tell me what I need to know. But like, it's just something I really want to do and see how it pans out.
I'm sure you have some pictures of him, right?
Oh yeah. And then I want to bring my son with me too, and just see. I just want to see what happens.
He can, like, I get downloads. My sister gets downloads from my mom, and so do I. My sister gets even more, but usually I get them when I'm in the shower, believe it or not.
What do you mean downloads?
Like a message.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Your sister gets them?
All the time, yeah. It's like, she went to visit my brother, and there's a picture of my mom on the sailboat. And she's like, Mom's been talking to me the whole time I've been here, you know.
Yeah.
You can get the download if you listen.
That stuff's real, right?
It's unbelievable. I don't know. It seems real to me.
It's real. It's definitely real. Well, like what you talk about, the spirit is in the body. Is that what you said?
Yeah, soul with a body. Yeah.
Not a body with a soul, but a soul with a body.
Right.
So something's got to happen to the soul after.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
That's the way I intuitively, that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
Intuitively. Indubitably.
My friend's mom passed away when he was in his 20s. He was living in a house with his mom, so he stayed in the house, and I go over a lot. The night that his mom died, this dog showed up on their back porch, scratching at the door. And, I mean, I swear to God, he swore it. I mean, like, it was his mom. The dog, they tried to figure out where the hell the dog came from. It was the sweetest dog. The dog knew him. And, like, this dog was with him the rest of the dog's life. But, like, it was the night his mom died, this dog showed up on the back porch.
That's fucking absurd.
Knew where everything was in the house, everything. It was
make
just
that
like,
shit.
yeah, you can't make it up.
You can't make it up. Nobody would believe you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to think of that, but I don't believe in coincidences.
No.
I don't think, it could be that we're all living a simulation.
Oh yeah, here we go with the X-Men.
No, simulation, like the Matrix.
I mean, the Matrix, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a lot of proof. I've been listening to a lot of these physicists on Lex Friedman's podcast, and a lot of them think we're living in a.
It doesn't matter if we are or we aren't. We're still having the experience.
yeah.
Some of them say similar things to that. It's like, this is our experience, whether it's a simulation or not.
That's right. Our soul is still experiencing it.
But the part of the Matrix that I actually remember the most is the part where that deja vu glitch with the cat.
Yeah. I kind of remember that.
Where it's the whole Matrix is resetting itself.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what was happening with all those Miami police.
Yeah. It just kept resetting itself.
And there's something going on down there.
You never. We
click, click, and it resets itself.
We don't know what we don't know. I mean, that's the mystery of life right there.
So, have you guys listened to any of these physicists talk about? Well, the one guy, he talks about how the universe is expanding because information is expanding, and in order for information to expand, the universe has to expand.
That makes sense.
And that black holes don't really destroy information. The theory is that black holes suck up everything, and so they actually destroy information. But
they're just
now
transporting the information.
Yeah, that one of the things.
Hard drive.
It could be a different level. Hard drive. I haven't heard that one. That's a good one. Did you hear about the new paper that came out about assembly theory?
Nope.
I didn't even know half of this stuff was until I started listening to Lex Friedman's podcast, and now he makes fun of me for mentioning it. It's all new to me too. I just try to talk with somebody about this is wild shit.
What is assembly theory?
Assembly theory is the idea of assembly theory. The big idea of it, and the reason why it's so controversial, is because people think that it proves the existence that time is essential to reality. So as different molecules assemble, like a sun burns for a certain amount of time, as it burns, it creates more and more complex molecules. And so you don't get those complex molecules unless time has passed. So if you go to another planet and you find these complex molecules, it's kind of proof of life and the passage of time.
Okay.
It's kind of like there's a bear shit in the woods. You show up at a planet that exists before you got there. If you find complex molecules, it did.
My butt is a complex molecule.
So what's your most memorable sailing race, and why do you talk so little about sailing when it's such a big part of your life?
Because I've already done this stuff. I don't. I want to do new stuff. I don't want to like keep reliving my old crap.
Well, that's a reasonable answer.
It's like I don't want to be the person. Oh, 20 years ago I won the North American Championships. What to do?
Well, you do realize that when we come over, you go, don't touch these cups or my trophies.
That's right.
Don't drink out of that one.
That's because I
it holds water just fine, and I could clean it, but don't drink out of it because it's my trophy.
I don't because I don't feel like I can go out and win any more races.
Even though it's over on the wall, and I would never dream about.
No, you have no idea, guys. All my friends, sailing friends, grab those glasses to drink out of because they will connect with the sailing glass.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's the first thing they take.
You can't win any more races. Why?
I don't have a boat or a sailing program. Like I could win races for other people, but unless you're driving the boat.
Well, aren't you the one still winning when it's?
No, I don't get the trophy unless it's on the registered owner or head of the.
So you're saying the game is rigged?
No, it's who gets the trophy when you win the Super Bowl? The owner of the team.
No,
Yeah.
the teammates, the team players get rings.
I hate that though.
The owner of the team gets the trophy. Who wins the trophy?
I don't think the owner should get anything.
Horse wins the race.
They already get money. They shouldn't get anything.
This is why I love hockey, because they give the Stanley Cup to the players first. They don't give it to the owner of the team. The players win it, not the owner. I get it. The owner makes the team, but they don't. Not everybody gets a trophy. There's only one trophy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Manhattan Sailing Club, the guy was a genius. Still is. When it comes to like creating the best sailing club in the world. So we had a little clubhouse floating at the dock where the boats were, and it had a bar in it. So we had a race on Tuesday night or Wednesday night. After every race, the top 4 people would get a glass. Whereas all the races down here, you have to win the whole series before you get one trophy.
That's bullshit.
Which is complete bullshit.
That's
These guys
bullshit.
have no idea what they're doing. They're stuck in 30 years.
I hate that.
It is. Yeah. So, and I would get a trophy literally after every race.
That's awesome.
People thought I won every race, but I didn't. But I did almost. So I would take the first trophy, and then I would give one to my crew. The next 5 or 6 that I won, I would give to the crew. And I had a line of people that wanted to sail with me.
Hell yeah.
And then also I had people when they couldn't sail. Like if I was on the Tuesday, if my team was doing the Tuesday night race, and if somebody from the Wednesday night couldn't sail, they'd call me up to sail their boat for them when they couldn't make it. Skipper it. And so I would win more trophies for these other people's crews than they would win without me.
Well, that makes sense.
And there was one regatta. This is my second favorite. There was like 3 races that are very memorable. We had this one race. It's around Governor's Island. So, and you get to pick which way around the island you go. So half the people go one way and half the people go the other. And I got a really shitty start. I had an all-girl crew on this race. It was me and 5 girls. And so I got a really shitty start, and I'm like behind 6 boats. I'm cursing and grumbling. And this girl's sitting on there, and I goes, "Oh, Roger, you're going to win." I did not think I was going to win that race.
Did you win?
So I just put the pedal to the metal, sailed as hard as I could. And then halfway around the race, TJ, who was we had epic battles all year. TJ and I crossed, because you can pick which way. We literally crossed each other at the exact halfway mark, going around. And so when we got to the finish line, we were still dead nuts. I won the race by this much. I beat him by a foot and a half.
Damn.
So that was
So
kind
the
of
record book says that you won the race,
I did win the race.
and it doesn't say he came in second, does it?
Well, he got a trophy too.
Yeah.
But,
How prestigious is the Manhattan
it's not that
Yacht Club?
prestigious.
It's not? I mean, it sounds like it's a big deal, man.
But I was once introduced to somebody as the best sailor in New York. I'm like, I'm not the best sailor in New York, but it felt pretty good. I was the best sailor at the sailing club.
That's awesome, Roger.
I was like LeBron James at that club.
So what brought you to Annapolis? Sailing?
No, my wife, she wanted to get out of New York.
Well, I meant this time.
Work.
You work in D.C.?
Think about it, okay? So when I started in the IT business...
You work down in D.C.?
Well, when I started in the IT business...
Yeah.
There were actual data centers in buildings in Manhattan. So all the banks had their computers in their bank headquarters building.
In Manhattan.
In Manhattan. Then when fiber optics came in, they were the first ones to move out. So then I worked at the law firms in Manhattan. Then all the law firms moved their stuff to data centers. And then I was working for HBO. Like, then there's no more jobs. Nobody's gonna put some computer guy in a $8,000 a square foot building, when they can put him in some closet in New Jersey. So
Yeah, because
we're not making money for the company. We don't have to be in the prime real estate.
right, and the speed difference is negligible nowadays.
Yeah, it's all fiber optics now. So
You know what we're talking about with the speed difference?
With fiber optics?
Yeah, like you put it over there, and it's a nanosecond difference than having it on location.
Yeah, it makes sense.
well, yeah, I mean, he's got a computer.
I
It's
don't
connected to
I
the
don't take
internet.
it for granted that people know this stuff is all.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
So-
if he knows, doesn't mean everybody else listening knows.
It makes
That's
sense.
true.
It
Yes,
makes
I
sense.
should slow down.
Oh, you're fine.
So so then it was like, well, I can move to New Jersey, DC, Arizona.
You lived in Arizona?
No, these are my choices.
Oh,
What
okay.
Enterprise IT was. She wanted to live in Santa Barbara. I'm like, there's no enterprise IT companies in Santa Barbara, even in LA. Like there's one.
Yeah, it's too, the
Hospital.
real estate's too
There's,
expensive.
yeah, there's one hospital, big hospital, and I
Yeah.
could work for in LA. Or I could work for the Red Cross, which has no money at all. Like, the most important thing you want when you get a job in IT is company's got a lot of money, a big budget to get new shit.
Yeah.
So so I'm like, okay, you want to move to DC? We'll go to DC. That's why I moved down here. I had the best time of my life in Manhattan. There were 3 girls for every straight single guy in Manhattan. More.
But you were
Sometimes
married, right?
This is before I got married.
Before you got married?
No, we didn't move out. We didn't get married till after we moved out of New York.
You moved to D.C. or you moved to Annapolis?
That is a story for another evening. We moved to like 12 different places till we found one we liked.
Okay.
Roger's
Yes.
already said 3 different ways that he wants to be on the podcast again because he's leaving other stuff out.
Oh yeah.
Did you, and then when you moved back to Annapolis, I mean, did like sailing, there being a big sailing community here, did that play into your decision?
Yes, that and the fact that I have friends here.
Yeah.
Like that's the 3rd time I've lived in Annapolis.
Well, what brought you back this time?
So the last time when I just moved here 3 years ago,
You were single already, right?
yeah, I was living in Virginia, and it was COVID, and it was just another one of those. I woke up. I knew this house, or my house, was for sale, because my best friend's brother-in-law owned it. And they're like, for 6 months they were saying Thomas's house is going to be for sale. You should buy it. So my best friends lived here, and I'm sitting in Virginia in COVID. I didn't know anybody. It was horrible, you know. So I just woke up one day and looked at the house. It was like this big light around it. And I just looked at it and said, okay, I got to buy this house. It was like a whim. I bought it on a whim.
Oh, that's awesome.
I swear to God, I half an hour later, I called Brett up and said, I want to buy Thomas's house. He goes, seriously, you've been talking about buying
Brett.
houses for a year.
I've met Brett.
Yeah, at the Super Bowl party, yeah.
Yeah.
And with the 2 little kids.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. He goes, well, if you really want to buy the house, you got to get the offer in tonight.
And you did it.
Yeah, it was on a whim, just complete whim.
He's got geothermal in that house.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
And I got friends at docks and boats, and I got friends. Nice to have friends.
Yeah, friends.
I'm glad you moved back here.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about it.
So why do you think you were called back to this area? By the Matrix.
Obvious. It's where I'm supposed to be. I got kids to help and grow up here. I'm Uncle Raji again. There's one kid I have to watch out for, especially. She's a Crystal baby. Crystal child I have to watch out for. At least I think that's what one of the things is. Have you ever heard of that? Crystal child?
No. No.
Oh, yeah. Next generation of human beings.
Is it like the crystal beings from?
Are you gonna quote another movie that I haven't seen?
Well, I figured
at least 10 times.
I think it might be Raiders of the Lost Ark, so you might have seen it actually.
It could be. There's all kinds of different evolutions of human beings that are more enlightened. So, Crystal is the latest one.
I've never heard of that.
I'll send you a link.
I'll send you a link.
What are we considered?
That's the meme of nowadays. I'll send you a link.
I'll send you a link.
I'll send you a link.
I'll send you a link. It'll prove it.
I don't have this memorized, but I will. We are.
I say it all the time. I'll send you a link.
I'll send you a link. I'll figure it out and let you know.
All right.
But there's different evolutions, and they're all documented. My wife is into this stuff too, but
Your ex-wife?
yeah, she was sort of on the dark side of it. It's very interesting.
Well, you said it in the beginning. There's no light without the dark.
I did say that.
That was not the beginning. That was about 2 hours into it.
Was it?
Yeah.
How long
Wow.
have we been going at this?
3 hours and 12 minutes.
And most of the stories I'm telling, I feel uncomfortable with that, but it's kind of fun too.
That's what we're supposed to facilitate that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, so the most memorable race I ever had, there are 2 of them.
Okay.
I told you the third most memorable race.
Okay.
There's about 10 that are really memorable, but the most memorable race I ever had was the J80 North American Championship, which I won in Annapolis in 1999. And when you win a North American Championship, it gets recognized by everyone, no matter where you go. It's like instant credibility. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of money in sailing.
no, there isn't. Professional.
There's a lot of
sailing-
money spent in
Oh,
sailing.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so winning that championship was the highlight of my sailing career, and I won that. The race that we won, the race that won us the championship, I beat the guy to the windward mark by 10 seconds.
Damn.
If I was 10 seconds further behind, he would have won the race and won the championship. That's how close it was. That's why it's so memorable. And all the mistakes we made, you know.
You made less.
We made 10 seconds less mistakes than he
That's
did.
right. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
That
Make
was
less mistakes
memorable.
than the second guy.
And my first trip to Bermuda when we. So there's another part of that story when we got hit by the lightning storm.
Uh-huh.
So there was this guy Tom Stark. He has a reputation, being he's just very confident. Let's just say, and he went on to Wall Street as one of the guys they hired to be the hitman and get rid of all the bad people. And he was like one of those guys. Very smart, really smart, and talented. So he's racing on Tenet, 46-footer, and we're on Circe, the 44-footer.
Circe.
That was the name of the boat. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know the Greek reference behind Circe, right? All right. Well, I'll tell you that later.
So anyway, long story short, the bet was the skipper of the winning boat buys dinner in Bermuda, and the losing skipper buys everybody dinner, and the losing crew picks up the drink tab in Bermuda.
Last place.
Wow.
No, there's 200 boats in the race, but you can time, everything's timed, and it's timed based on a handicap.
Okay.
So they figure out the scores based on the handicap. So we made a bet, who's going to win based on the handicap, us or you.
Gotcha.
So we're 18 hours out, and there's a check-in point. You get to this one spot where everyone has to call into the race committee and say, "Hey, we're here, and this is the time." And his boat was faster than ours, so he gave us time. And so we're like 2 or 3 hours away from the checkpoint, and we hear him radioing in that he's at the checkpoint. So the navigator goes down and figures out all the math, how much, what the handicap was based on everything. He goes, "We're tied." So I stayed up the last.
That's a great navigator.
Yeah,
that's a great navigator.
So we stay up.
It's not easy math.
Yeah, no, it isn't. So I stayed up the entire last 18 hours of the race and pushed the boat as hard as I could as a 23-year-old.
You're 23 at this time?
Yeah. And I pushed the hell out of this boat like as hard as I could. Everybody was into it too, believe me. And we won the bet by 20 seconds. 640-mile race.
Damn.
Tom Stark was pissed.
20 seconds.
20 fucking seconds. We won the race. Can you believe that? So that's memorable. That was a memorable race. I got off the boat.
So this clip needs to be the front end of the podcast. This little piece right here. So, time marker.
That was memorable.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah, it's still to this day
23 years old.
Yeah.
Navigator.
I was not the navigator.
Smart navigator who energized the hell out of the captain.
But we were tied. He wasn't.
No, but being able to do the math and go, look, if you're still in this.
Yeah.
You're still in this. That's awesome.
20 seconds. It was like 22 seconds or something.
What year was this race? What's the name of the race?
This is Newport to Bermuda race.
Very
famous. In I want to say 80. It was I think it was 82 or 83.
What was you're talking about? 18-hour stretches. How long was it in total?
650 miles. I think it was like 4 days.
Damn.
But we usually race. The way the watch system works is it's 4-hour watches starting at midnight or starting at 6 p.m. So you do 4 hours on, 4 hours off, and then there's a 6-hour one during sunlight hours. It works out great. And then there's the all hands on deck stuff. There's plenty of that too. Like when you
explain.
Well, let's say it's blowing 10 miles an hour. Everybody's hanging out. You know, you got your 4 guys. It's real easy. You adjust the sails every once in a while. Tack the boat every once in a while. All of a sudden, the wind dies, or it triples. Or it changes direction 180 degrees. You got to put up a different sail. Or something breaks. They got to take one sail down, get the next sail up, and 4 people can't do that fast enough. Like if you're cruising, it's fine, but in a race.
You need all hands on deck.
Right, exactly. Because if you every second counts, as
Wake
you
up.
can see. So
Yeah.
we wake everybody up, and we change the sail, and then they go back to bed. It's called all hands on deck.
Where
Wow.
do these boats have like a bathroom on them?
I would hope so.
I mean, I'm saying I don't know
No,
anything.
they do.
about
Like
that.
our boat was 44 feet long. It's designed for cruising and had a beautiful kitchen, and
Okay.
the mast was
How,
like a
how many
tree
heads?
trunk.
How many heads?
Only
Is it?
one.
Just the one head.
But this was before they had holding tanks and boats, so you just pump the crap right over the side.
Well, it doesn't really matter that much.
Well, when you're out in the ocean, you're allowed to anyway. But
Yeah.
newer boats of that size have 2 heads. But yeah, so we had bunks to sleep in.
Okay.
The newer boats are more stripped out to be lighter weight, but you know, technology has changed a lot since then. It was a Swan. It was like one of the fancier.
This is pre-carbon fiber.
Oh, it's pure carbon fiber.
Yeah.
The boat was
It's
from
pre.
the 70s.
It's pre most composites, including higher grade fiberglass.
Well, the fiber.
They had
fiberglass on
fiberglass.
that boat
but-
was thick. Let's just put it that. The
Yeah.
mast was like a tree trunk.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was.
The boat was heavy. The sails
Yeah.
were Dacron. The sails that they have today,
Explain Dacron.
Dacron, like your sheets.
I
cotton.
even if I knew it, I still need you to
Oh.
explain it for everybody who doesn't.
Dacron is a material. It's, you know, you have your cotton, and then you have your synthetic material. Dacron's a synthetic cotton.
But it's like Kevlar, right?
It's stiffer than cotton, but not nearly as stiff as Kevlar. So now the sails are made out of carbon fiber. They used to be Kevlar. So they went from cotton to Dacron to Kevlar. Now they're carbon fiber. Now they're molded instead of sewn. Like they used to just sew pieces of cotton together. So anyway, those sails were heavy. Like it took 4 of us to like drag a sail on the deck, and now one guy can pick them up, the same size sail up.
Damn.
So it makes a big difference. So technology's come along.
I didn't know they made carbon fiber. Like,
I know, it's like, how do you even do that, right?
yeah, I think of carbon fiber as like
Not
you know,
bendable.
not bent. Right. That's like sounds like what Batman should be making his cape out of.
Yes.
Well, the way
exactly
to
right.
the way to understand it is that there's thin
It might be
fibers.
like
Fibers.
it
Yeah.
might be carbon infused something around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
what
gotcha.
it is. So you've got probably a nylon that has carbon fiber infused in it.
Or some sort of backing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they
Yeah.
make the sails anymore.
Like that PLA toy, fidget toy that you have is PLA with carbon fiber in it.
Yeah, you see, I have a carbon fiber fidget
That's
toy,
it. Yeah.
although it's not black.
I do not have carbon fiber infused black PLA. I only have the
That's
purple.
illegal. Did you know that's illegal?
No, it's actually out of stock.
It's illegal. You cannot have carbon fiber that isn't black. Everyone knows that. How do you not know that?
I
You know all
I
these
didn't have
movies.
you around to tell me, Roger.
All right, so those are 2 of the most memorable ones. And then there was the race where the Foxymon Regatta.
The Foxymon.
Foxymon. So the Foxymon has a...
That's what sounds.
It is. The Foxymon is a guy who calls himself the Foxymon. He owns a bar in this island in the Caribbean. You can Google
Here's
it.
the name of the episode: the Foxymon.
No, Google the I forget. I think it's Joost van Dyke. It's in the British Virgin Islands. And you know, we went on these cruises once a year. Every year we would go to the Caribbean and we would go to Foxy's bar and we'd take it over. So we have this regatta called the Foxymon Regatta. And whoever wins the Foxymon Regatta, you know, we dress up in costumes and it's like Hawaiian night. And whoever wins the regatta, everyone has to bow to you. And, you know, and bow to you and say, "Oh, Foxymon," which not everybody did. But So that year, I won both the Tuesday night and the Wednesday night Foxy Mountain race.
Man, you won it twice?
And I literally was walking down the dock and these girls were bowing to me. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome, Roger.
Oh,
I'm looking
God.
it up. I'm looking at so Foxy Mountain Regatta comes up.
That'll be from Manhattan Sailing Club.
Yeah, the first race of the Manhattan Sailing Club Summer Series. Yeah.
So I did the Tuesday night and filled in for somebody on the West, Stephen Yips.
The race honors the Foxy Bar.
Yeah. There it is.
Foxy's.
Yeah. Which I have been to.
Oh, there he is.
Is it a picture of me?
No.
Oh, Foxy.
Foxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's.
You're not on the screen though. You're in.
No, never. Here we come.
Beat me
There
to
we
it.
go. Yep, that's Foxy's. That's the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that that's the dude?
Yeah.
That's Foxy?
But he's look where that's located. It's in the
Maximize
Caribbean. It's in
maximize that screen.
Jost Van Dyke is the island he's on.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So that's an island in the Caribbean, a smaller one.
Do
in
they-
the British Virgin Islands?
Do they have the winners of the Foxy Mon over the years listed?
No. This guy has no idea that we have a Foxy Mon. He doesn't care.
He don't care.
No.
What's Foxy's taboo?
He looks like
Foxy says mushroom drinks down there.
he looks like that famous actor.
Yes, he does. There we go.
You know who I'm
There it
talking
is.
about? What's his name?
Who, Foxy?
Batman.
Yeah, Foxy looks
Oh,
like.
I know he's the comedian guy.
No, he played God in
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan
that
Freeman.
looks like Morgan Freeman. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go, did you see the Foxy Mon Regatta? Did that come up?
Well, this came up,
Yep, that's it right
and
there.
that's, you know,
That's the one.
it's from the Feeling Naughty website. But yeah, they're dressed like pirates and shit.
Yeah, we all put on costume.
But this looks. I mean, you're
That's
talking about
somebody's-
doing it. What year were you doing this? I mean, this has gone on for a long time, huh?
Yeah, so that's yeah, I mean that's what we did though.
Yeah.
So we're you can go to myc.org and look at all that shit up. I don't know, it was about 15 years ago. God, time's flying.
Yeah, look at that. That's cool looking, man.
You didn't ask me what my least proud moment was.
Well, Roger, what was your least proud moment?
So I had this arch enemy in this regatta. Not this regatta, but in this sailing club.
There's heroes and arch enemies. This is
Oh,
going to be a
yeah.
good story.
So we're actually good friends, but he's a really good sailor, and one year we were racing in the same night, and every race was like neck and neck, and at the starting line we'd be in the exact same spot, and you know he was like the toughest guy to sail against, even tougher than the lady who won the America's Cup that I beat half the time. So one day we're racing, and the two of us, and this is like the final race of the series, and we were neck and neck,
Mm-hmm.
heading to the mark that both Staten Island ferries go around. The one coming from New York and the one coming from Staten Island, they go around the same buoy that we were supposed to go around. And it was one of those days where the current was flowing, and there was just boat sprawl all through New York Harbor. And so, you know, TJ's up here on my hip, and I'm here, and I'm waiting for him to tack, and because the Staten Island ferry is coming up like this, and we all have to go around the same mark, and we're all going to get there at the same time, and we're not supposed to mess with the Staten Island ferry in this little 24-foot piece of plastic. So I'm waiting. I'm playing chicken with him, and the girls and my crew's like, Roger, isn't the ferry getting a little close? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go any minute. And they're like, Roger, the ferry's getting real. Next thing you know, the ferry stops right next to us, and the captain of the ferry walks down onto the front of the Staten ferry and yells at me, What do you have, a death wish or something? I swear to God, it's a true story. And it was surreal, you know. I deserved it because I was playing chicken with the guy and waiting for him to attack when it was really me who was supposed to attack first.
I thought the sailing vessels had the right of way.
Not against commercial vessels that have
How does that give them the right of way?
It's in the rules.
Oh, so it's a rule.
It's the rules of the race.
It's the rules of the road.
The rules of the road.
It's the rules of the road.
Staten Island Ferry.
International rules of the road. It's not just United States.
Yeah, right.
Commercial vessels with limited maneuverability have rights over sailing ships. Especially when you're in the channel that they have to be in. Going around the mark that they have to go around. All right, so that's not the end of the story, obviously.
Okay.
So the yacht club.
It's obviously not.
So the owner of the yacht club gets a phone call from the authority that gives him the license for us to sail in New York Harbor. It says, we got to take your license away. You're not going to be able to have a sailing club anymore.
Oh shit.
And so I don't know. He had some negotiations. This is the story he told us. So we all have a meeting the next week. No race. And what he did, because the guy that I was playing chicken with was the owner's best friend. So we had this meeting, and the first meeting was, you know, all the things that were going to go wrong and how bad we were, and, you know, we could lose our license. It was like the threatening meeting. And then the next week we have another meeting, and he's like, he figures out a way to blame the problem on the race committee for sending us to the wrong mark so his buddy doesn't get in trouble. And we both got suspended from racing for an extra week.
Oh,
the
man.
club's license got suspended for 1 week, but not forever. If he promised, he had to change the race course so we would never go around that mark again.
That actually
So
kind
we
of
got
makes
off with a
sense.
slap in the hand.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Because I was clearly wrong. Like, I was playing chicken with the Staten Island Ferry. Like, because I wanted to beat this guy, you know. Like,
Did you beat
Well,
him?
that's kind of your job.
no, we had
in
to
a
drop
race.
out of the race.
Oh, you got stopped on the
Both.
race right there, huh?
Yeah, we got disqualified from the race. Both of us did.
Damn. Well, at least he didn't get to go on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Roger is a
But we
little
got off with a-
competitive.
We got
Yeah.
we got off with a slap on the hand, big time. I could have gotten thrown out.
Well, it seems like they came to the right conclusion, though. If they didn't want you to end up having to play chicken with the ferry, then don't send you to the same buoy that the ferry goes around. That makes
That's
sense.
very liberal thinking of
That
you.
makes sense.
Very, very, very big brother. You know, don't let people take responsibility for their own actions.
No, I just
theory thinking.
keep it from happening in the future is all I meant.
I mean, if I was in charge of making, I would have thrown me out for a long time.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, I put the whole safety of my crew at risk and clearly violated a lot of rules.
I
was
know,
a
Roger. I
bad,
think
bad
everybody's
boy.
allowed to have bad.
I was a bad boy that day.
Allowed to have.
That was one of my worst.
You wouldn't
worst-
have good. You wouldn't have this good story to tell now if you didn't have bad
the
judgment.
polarity. That's right. It's polarity. There we go.
Yeah,
gotta
that's
have
an
the-
awesome story.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I got 3 or 4 more like that, but one's enough for today.
Come on.
I feel like it would be a good animated story. We need like a
Yes,
cartoon,
yes.
a cartoon drawing of Roger.
Yes, little
You know a
Roger
guy.
and
You
the
know a guy who does animations.
No, but we can find one.
You know a guy who does animations.
No, I don't.
We'll find one.
Yeah, we can find one.
We can make one from your 3D printer.
We should do it like old school, like Hanna-Barbera style.
Yes!
Yeah, like
He wants,
Scooby-Doo.
he wants me to print out little models and
Oh,
for
and
you
put
to.
out little
to do
Rogers,
stop.
yeah.
Oh, stop motion?
Yeah.
Stop
I
motion.
can definitely do stop motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make it look like those original cartoons when they're running and the legs are just.
I'm
going
gonna do a
up and
little
down like
model of
that.
Yeah.
the Staten Island ferry and
Yeah.
little tiny models of the little boats.
Ooh.
And a little
That sounds like
bobblehead with a big.
lot of work.
A little bobblehead with a big head of
Yeah.
Roger.
Yes.
I was thinking cartoon.
Cartoon would be much better. That just
More.
seems like way
You're
too
thinking
much
of
work.
the South Park kind.
I was thinking Scooby Doo.
South
Like-
Park
Oh, yeah,
quality.
Scooby-Doo.
Old,
cartoon?
old school Scooby Doo,
Okay.
Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing like Hanna
Maybe some Chat GBT thing can do it for us in 5 seconds when we just give it all the information that we just collected.
Yeah.
Give us an animation of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we'll give it a picture of Roger going,
Wasn't me. I didn't do anything. I thought for sure.
there's
I
the
was getting kicked
there's
out
the
of
background
club.
music. Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Shaggy.
It wasn't me.
There was another race I did where I turned to first. I was first place halfway through the race, and I wound up 18th.
Damn.
And then there was another race, that a 45-minute race that I won by 14 minutes.
The whole race was 45 minutes?
And I won it by 14
And you beat
minutes.
everybody
The
that
No,
bad.
the second place boat was 14 minutes behind us.
Damn.
How the fuck did you do that?
You just...
How the fuck
we
did
still
you do that?
celebrate it when we get back together. Me and Ariel
How the
were
fuck
like,
did you
14
beat-
minutes.
That's not even a whole hour. 45
yeah.
minutes and you
Yeah. Let's just say there was some wind.
They
I took
did it in-
advantage of wind and current.
it took them 45 minutes to do what you did in half an hour.
Yes, that's correct.
That would definitely place you at the top of the
All right, so think about this, okay? So it's not a heavy air day, and there's current flowing, right? So you start the race, and I, because of my and my crew's skill, were able to get to the first mark before everybody else, right? So we're like a minute ahead of everyone, maybe 2, at the first mark. So we go around the mark, and the current is going behind us now instead of against us, and the wind dies. So all the other boats are now having the current push them backwards, and I have just enough current to push me forwards. So I'm just sitting there with like 2 knots of wind, just putting along, and nobody else can get to the mark. They're just sitting there. And Ariel turns around and goes, "Roger, don't look back." And she's like hopping up and down on the deck, because we're all hiking to the low side to tilt the boat to make the sails curve because there's not enough wind. And I turn around and I'm like, we're halfway to the next mark, and nobody else has gotten around the other mark yet. And then, so we get just past Statue of Liberty, and the southerly starts coming in, the new wind. Like we get,
and the wind picks up.
the wind fills in from the south, and we're heading south. So these boats are all upriver, and we're most further south. So we get the new wind first.
So timing matters.
So the southerly comes in, and all of a sudden we have 8 knots of wind, and they're still in 0 wind trying to get around the leeward mark. Next thing you know, we're sailing. The southerly finally drifts down and gets to them. But by the time they finished, the next guy was 14 minutes behind them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
We'll never forget that one as long as we live. Like, it's fun because like other people are on the boat to remember it.
Well, yeah. Do you have like video of you like in any of these races, or like was anyone ever on the boat with like a camera?
No, the video wasn't a big thing back then. We didn't have, the phones didn't really.
They didn't have
good video.
GoPros
Yeah.
on the sails
We
yet.
didn't. It was like right before then.
Right.
Just
When's
do
your-
myc.org. I don't even think they have videos on that. They might have a couple of videos. That's our club.
J24 Racing.
Yeah, you just click on that. Or, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what we were doing. Not sure that they have any videos.
Oh, they got a happy hour boat.
Oh yeah, put that barge. That's Ellis Island right there. They put that barge out there. They would have parties. They could
Oh, I see everybody on that barge.
Yeah, that's where they started the races from.
That's pretty
that
cool.
was genius. He bought an old Navy launch and had it cleaned up.
See, imagine if that was like a yoga studio. Oh, that'd be so fucking cool.
But you know what? Getting out of Manhattan on a Wednesday and Tuesday night to do that, it's like a vacation. I rollerbladed down to the club.
Yeah?
And there was I once had this girl come up to me I had never met before. I was on the Willy Wall, that barge. This girl out of nowhere comes up to me and goes, "You're going to teach..." She was like 27, gorgeous. She's like, it was right after I'd started dating my wife. So she's like, "Roger, you're going to teach..." She knew my name and everything. She came up to me and goes, "You're going to teach me how to sail." I'm like, the best part was when I said, "No, I'm not." The only thing, that was really nice. Like, being able to turn down girls that were hitting on me was a new experience.
Yeah.
That like never happened to me before.
What, you never turned them down, or they never hit
I
him?
never had enough girls hitting on me to turn them down. It's always good to have a shtick if you want to get girls. Gotta have something.
Yeah, you need a shtick. A shtick is good.
But I just did it because I love sailing, honestly. Everybody's like, "Oh, don't you ever get tired of winning?" I'm like, I just love sailing. I don't give a shit.
I'm sorry,
I
but
was lying.
there are stupid questions, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should go all Aaron
Do
Rodgers.
you ever get tired of winning?
That's loser talk.
Yeah.
No, I don't get tired of winning.
You might be able to say, would winning mean more if you won less often?
It's a good way of
No,
putting it.
not really.
You do a really good Aaron Rodgers imitation. No, but there was one year I had.
I'm sorry, I don't get that reference. Been waiting all evening for you to pull out a reference I could go fuck you on.
So here's actually the best lesson I ever learned from this whole experience. So there's the Yankees, right? Everybody wants to beat the Yankees, right? You know, like they're the big bad guy who have all the money and the best players.
Yep.
Everybody wants to beat the Yankees and like the Cowboys, you know.
Yep.
And then, so when everybody starts thinking that you're win every race, and you start expecting yourself to win every race, and you start putting pressure on yourself, you start getting nervous before every race. You can't perform. Same thing in baseball. You start gripping the bat too hard.
So you're saying you have performance problems?
Yes, I had performance problems. So I actually had to take an entire season off of racing because I was getting too much anxiety. I had a shitty season. I couldn't sail my best, and I was getting really nervous before every race. And so then during that time, I filled in for some other skippers. You know, I raced like 5 or 6 times anyway, but not with my own team. But I came up with a saying: winning is not a verb. Think about it. You don't go out and win a race, technically. You run the race, you sail the race, you climb the mountain. Now, if you sail the race better than everybody else, the result will be a win. If you run the race faster than everyone else, the result, winning is a result. It's not a verb. People misuse it all the time. These idiots in professional sports. We're going to go out and win. Well, how are you going to win? You got to play football better than the other guy. Think about it.
So that's all you. That winning is not a verb. That's Roger Kagan original.
Roger Kagan original. So when we go down, the next season we came down on the boat. Every time I get on a competitive situation now, I told my team every week, I don't care how we sail, how we finish. If we sail our best race that we can sail, we're going to do just fine. The results will be fine.
Yeah, because you never know. You might just be 2 minutes behind the wind. You get stuck on the wrong side of the buoy.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but that's some true leadership right there.
That takes all the pressure off. You just sail the best you can, and you'll do fine.
Yeah, that's some leadership, man. I'm impressed with that.
Yeah, it took me an entire year to come up with that one. I was having meltdowns. Like the pressure had gotten to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's
over, you know.
Some of the best stuff is born out of that, man.
Yeah.
It
That's,
takes
you
a,
know.
it takes a big man to admit that he has performance issues.
Well, sailing performance issue. Good one. Took you a while. I set you up for that one.
I took my time when I saw it hanging
Yeah,
there.
you
I waited
for the
until
right moment.
Woo!
Stuck it right in there.
Let's get a bigger bat, so making sure I hit that one.
Good for you. That was the best club ever.
We're gonna try to do this. The second one, the second one we do with you is gonna be the first one that we do, walkabout.
Yeah, walkabout's good.
And so we're gonna try to do a similar thing, and we're gonna have follow up to this conversation on that.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about something different.
Well, it'll be follow up, like filling in, because we're gonna research your ass now.
I'll be like, tell us the story about the time
You went from first to 18.
Tell us about the Staten Island ferry again.
Yeah.
What do you have a death wish? I mean, I will never forget that as long as I live. I can tell you about the time we almost got run
Did you
over
just
by a
yell back?
tugboat.
I knew you're good at your job, and I wanted to make sure that everybody else knew it.
No, I apologize. I told him we were just about to tack when you stopped your ferry. He didn't care about that at all.
Was like the ferry like loaded with people?
Yeah, it's a Staten Island ferry making its run from New York to Staten Island. He stopped the boat.
Damn.
Oh my God, I was humiliated.
I mean, I didn't realize you could stop a boat like that.
Well, yeah, they have to dock it.
They have a little button. Click.
It's not a button, it's a lever. Everyone knows it's a lever.
Just turn the engines off. It does the same thing.
And it stops. Right?
These boats, no.
No?
We got to get you boating, man.
That's what I'm saying. How do you stop a boat? Because
Put it in reverse.
Oh, okay.
So you got the propellers going this way, pushing the boat.
You can't just slam it in reverse.
Those boats are designed. They're designed to go into docks. They have good reverse. You can slam them into reverse. Every once in a while, the diesel fails, and the boat slam right into the dock and crash into the dock. I'm sure you've heard those stories. Maybe not.
So this thing.
Yeah, that's thing.
That's
Stop.
what you came up on.
Well, that's a bigger one, but yeah, that guy came from the top, walked all the way out to the front, stopped his boat, and asked me if I had a death wish. That's a bigger one, though. Slightly bigger than the one. But yeah.
Oh, see, I want to Photoshop you on a sailboat right there.
And one of those
Like,
J24.
Throw that picture into the note that I created.
So now you understand how like traumatic it was. Like, it was no small little dinghy. And he was doing 17 knots.
We're going to have images with our chapter notes.
He was doing
Oh,
about
yeah.
17 knots, almost 20 miles an hour when he had to hit the brake. He was like full
Your
speed.
homework for the next episode that we do with you is to watch more Star Trek and more movies, so that I can all the references. You got to watch the.
Well, you have to
Frighteners.
give me a list.
You got to
of
watch the
movies to watch.
Frighteners, and
Yeah, you got to give me the list of movies.
then you'll tell me I actually had seen that. I'm so sorry. It's a Michael J. Fox movie.
what? The
I
secret
liked
of
him
my
in
success?
I like
No,
him
the
in Back to the
Frighteners.
Future.
The Frighteners?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of the Frighteners. Are you frightened? He's frightened now.
Did you ever see the Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly?
Mm-hmm.
I only saw the first one.
He's like Eric Stoltz. Like half of that movie is actually Eric Stoltz.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
they reshot the movie.
There's scenes with Eric Stoltz still in it.
Which one was
Is
that?
there really
One or
in
two
the,
or three?
in the production movie?
Yeah, like the back of his head. You can
Which-
tell.
Which
Oh, okay.
You
one?
can tell it's him. Like the scene where they're in the diner.
Yeah.
Is this the first Back to the Future?
So they filmed the whole
Yeah.
movie with Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly, and it just wasn't working. And
Oh,
they
so
were
they had to
like,
get
He doesn't have a sense of humor.
yeah,
He has no sense of humor.
it was not what they were looking for. And they fired his ass when the movie was almost done. And they had to get
really?
more money to make it.
I did not
and-
know any of this.
They hired Michael J. Fox.
Oh
but
yeah, there's a lot about that.
yeah, he was doing Family Ties.
Yeah. And he
So
was very famous.
he would like film Family Ties all day,
Oh God.
and then
Did you see Stillness? Is that where you got this from?
no,
So there's a documentary that he just did.
Yeah,
Michael J.
yeah,
Fox
yeah.
called Stillness, where he talks about this. He talks about this.
there's a Back to the Future documentary on it, but
My documentary is better than both of your documentaries.
But the point
what
was
documentary?
he's making fun of me because he feels I'm being
Because
competitive.
you're one-upping each other.
No,
Whose
it's a really
documentary
good
is
it's a
better
really good
description.
documentary, and I hadn't heard any of it too. But this is him actually telling the story that he's talking about. It isn't somebody else telling it.
Let it go. Your documentary is better than his.
Well, I
We
know
all
that
know
because
that.
I said so.
That's right.
He's so competitive. He hates seeing competitiveness in anybody else.
That's right. It's
Yeah,
rude.
see, like that's an original still. That's Eric Stoltz.
I don't even know who Eric Stoltz is.
Mask,
Oh man.
the movie Mask.
But he had a mask on.
He had a mask on. He's been in a bunch of stuff though.
Oh, he's been in a lot of stuff.
I've seen this movie like 5 times. I never realized.
He's in Pulp Fiction. He's a drug dealer in Pulp Fiction.
I watched
He's in a robe.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction was just one of the most intense movies in history.
I went to see that with my girlfriend at the time, who I actually think was it was '94, and I actually think she was a very smart girl.
She was
But
94?
No, that was the year.
Oh.
And
okay.
so after the movie, she asked me, "Why is it called Pulp Fiction?" And I looked at her. I'm like,
That's
you're-
it. We're breaking up now.
"You're kidding me, right?" No, I don't get it. And then she said, as a follow-up question, and then I don't understand why he was dead, and then all of a sudden he was alive again. I'm like, it's Pulp Fiction. It's out of order.
I went and saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You know that one with it's got the whole Sharon Tate murders in it and everything.
Yeah.
I have never watched that one from beginning to end, but I have seen pieces of it with Brad Pitt, and I think he's fucking awesome in that movie.
So we went, me and 2 friends, and we're walking out, and I said to my one friend, like, man, that was a really interesting take. You know, I'm wondering if that's the way, you know,
It actually
Sharon
was.
Tate really went down. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, that's based on a true story. That actually happened. And he was like, what? Like, he watched the whole movie, had no idea that, like, it was all based on.
I'm betting that
True
90% of the people that saw that movie did not realize it was based on...
Did not, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. You know, I have a
What was his name? It's not coming to me right now.
Quentin Tarantino?
No, Manson.
Manson.
Yeah, Charles Manson.
I've got a get out of jail free card autographed by Charles Manson.
I love it.
That is...
That's very
You
cool.
have...
And I also have
Did your dad leave that to you?
Yeah, my dad corresponded with Manson when he was in jail. And he sent Manson a Monopoly, get out of jail free card. And Manson thought it was the funniest thing. And he mailed it back, signed it, mailed it back to my dad. And Manson, later on in his life, he got a stack of get out of jail free cards and would sign them for people and mail them to people. And he got the idea from my dad.
And your dad
That's
has
the
the
best
first...
story
And you have the
ever.
first one.
I have the first one.
That's the best. That's a
I
great
also
story.
have,
How much is that thing worth?
I don't know, I also have
$1
worth
million.
even more.
$1
I've got
million.
an autographed Sharon Tate photo that my father
Sharon Stone
wrote to
photo?
her, and it's a still photo that she signed and sent back to my dad.
God, what are those things worth together?
Yeah.
$2 million.
$2 million.
Yeah, the Manson card is cool.
Do you know that reference?
Is that like...
One.
Oh, yeah, that count.
Yeah.
Sesame Street.
So I've got a story about that. One of those guys that I grew up with. Well, we met when we were about 18. And this is back in Crystal Lake, Illinois. And he sees this van, and the still makes me laugh. There's in this van, he's walking by it, and he sees this giant head of the Count sitting in the van, and so he takes it. And as he takes it, the guy who owns it is looking out the window at him and sees him, and he puts it on. And so he goes in a high-speed chase where he's wearing the hat of the Count. And this guy is chasing him, trying to get his... And finally... I don't know how. Probably, my buddy tells the story a whole lot better. We'll have to get him on the pod eventually to tell the story. But he eventually, this is back like before everybody had cell phones, and he got. They put a thing in the paper. You know, if you know anything about the Count's head, if you could just return him, we don't care about. We just want him back.
Just want it back.
Right. And so he made a deal with him, and he left it on this park bench for the guy to come and get it.
That's awesome.
I'm glad you like your fidget toy.
Well, he's happy, so he's laughing. This is him laughing at your story.
Can you imagine that, though? Going on a high-speed chasing.
It's like, well, witnessing that and then no one believing you.
Yes, I make myself laugh.
I
But it's
do the
not
same
my
thing.
story, so, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to. It's entertainment. Look at all those Staten Island ferries.
All right. Foxymon.
That was our club. Oh, that's the one in Jersey now.
Yeah.
They moved it to... He got kicked out of Manhattan. We had to move it to Jersey.
Oh, it's not in Manhattan anymore?
Nope, it's in Jersey.
Damn.
I left before it moved.
Yeah, you're no longer a member, huh?
Well,
No.
the club he belonged to doesn't exist now. It's New Jersey.
Well, it's still called Manhattan Yacht Club.
Well, that's
Jersey.
disingenuous. That's disingenuous.
It's the Manhattan Yacht Club of New Jersey.
That's a group of people not letting it go.
So when he got kicked out of North Cove, this is the year after I left. His lease ran out, and they didn't want to renew his lease. So he went scorched earth on all the people that he had to get to approve him renewing the lease. So he had to move across the way, but most of his members were from Manhattan. Now you've got to go all the way down to South Ferry, take the pass train, or take a ferry across to get to the club. It takes like an extra 40 minutes to get there.
Damn, they just made it difficult as shit for him.
So the last year I was there, we had 900 and something members, and within 2 years it was down to 200.
Well,
Like only the die-hard, long-time people stayed.
Makes sense.
So I got out in the nick of time.
and they're probably all sitting around telling stories about you, man.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
He was the best sailor in New York.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
And he pissed off
Everybody.
Staten Ferry guys.
Staten Ferry. Oh,
Yeah.
Ferries.
If you ever have 15 minutes of fame, you gotta just embrace the shit out of it.
Hell
You don't
yeah.
know when you're gonna get it again. It was just unbelievable. Really was.
Not
I'm
only
just
is
some
he
schmuck
not
that-
only is he famous, but he's infamous too.
Apparently.
Very few people know about that story. It was like
Well,
Maybe 20
hopefully,
people.
hopefully, quite a few more will learn about it.
Yeah. Now.
yeah. Well, now it's too late. They can't do anything. But
Well, with that, I think that's a good place to stop.
3 hours, 58 minutes, and 30 seconds. I think that is a perfect place to stop.
agreed.
Agreed.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for your participation in the first ever season, the first episode ever.
You're welcome. I
Yeah,
feel
thank you.
actually first of all I feel honored, and second of all I had a great time.
That's fun,
Like,
right?
what's more fun than just talking about all the shit you've done? It's like Nobody
glad you enjoyed
usually
it.
wants to listen to that stuff, so
Yeah, that's
No,
great.
no.
That's great.
finally found somebody new to tell the same old story. But no, seriously, really, it's fun to tell the old stories, but the key to life is to make new ones.
Amen to that. I
Right?
love it. Yeah, I 100%.
Well, I feel like
gotta
we
go
only
out and
got
make
to
new
like when you
stories.
were like 23. So I have a feeling